We are assembled here today to pay final respects to our honored dead. And yet, it should be noted that in the midst of our sorrow, this death takes place in the shadow of a new life, the sunrise of a new world, a world that our beloved comrade gave his life to protect and nourish. He did not feel this sacrifice a vain or empty one, and we will not debate his profound wisdom at these proceedings. Of my friend, I can only say this. There are 215 bones in the human body. That's one. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fluffenhammer. Roll the music!
Every man lives, not every man truly dies.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, George.
That was a good one.
That was good. I've got a one. Very nice.
I like the idea of Kirk standing over Spock's body and just going, there are 215 bones in the human body. That's one. And just pointing at it. Oh, when that one hit me, I was like, "Yep, that's the winner. That's the winner."
I'm just imagining what happens afterwards, where like, Kirk fully injects Spock's body with liquid Router.
The other one I had a real urge to do was to do the what's your dog's name, Wolfie. Khan!
Your foster parents
Wolfie's
are
fine,
dead.
Your foster parents are dead.
Khan's out there. He's killing Xander Berkeley. He doesn't like dogs. He's suddenly Robert Patrick. Why was he cooking casserole? Why have so many goddamn questions?
Now I'm just thinking that means there's a cut of the movie where you can see Spock's balls.
Ebreco is drinking.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, Spock's balls are just hanging out the bottom of that milk carton that the guy's drinking in Terminator 2. Weird thing to say.
This is getting Lynchian, this podcast, already, and we've barely begun.
I like to consider that every time we go onto a podcast, it makes someone with any kind of like psychology degree in the audience ears perk up and go, hang on, this feels like I should investigate this.
That person's actually in the recording.
Right?
Yeah.
This could be you, Adam, right?
Yep. That's me with psychology and sociology degrees. Yep.
Oh, well.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants. What's wrong with me?
Yeah, do we have to pay you for this?
I was going to say we're all getting analysed tonight.
And why do you think that?
Don't start.
How does that make you feel?
No. Pack it in.
You seem to be experiencing some misplaced anger right now.
I am not talking about my parents or my mother or childhood or anything.
Your parents are way too hot, is that right? Yeah.
All right, Freud.
All right.
Anyway.
It's when you just sit there on the couch and the person says, "Tell me about Keanu Reeves." That's when it gets real weird.
Yeah, that is a bit strange.
Oh, you mean Shadow the Hedgehog?
Oh no, he is, isn't he? He is.
Yeah.
You've got Keanu playing Shadow, and who is it who plays Knuckles? It's Idris, isn't it?
Yes, Idris Elba. Yeah.
I have somehow never seen one of those movies. I'm just still salty that the ugly Sonic didn't come out.
Yeah.
Well, he's in the Chip and Dale movie.
He is, which is a movie that I have watched and I could not give you a single opinion about.
It's kind of a sequel to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but not.
Oh,
it definitely exists. That is,
it does.
Yeah.
And they did Peter Pan weirdly.
okay.
Yeah, just aye. I'm not going to get into that conversation because I don't really want to start talking about.
Depth. I haven't seen it, but I'm sensing that this is a traumatic film for a lot of people.
It's not. It just exists. It's just you will watch it and you will leave it no better, no worse as a person. It is not. It is not a piece of art that you leave having grown from.
Okay, so that it's inert art.
Yeah,
it's a fucking chipmunk movie. Wib, what are you talking? You leave there a hollow man, aware that the planet that in which we reside is a cosmic miracle floating in a dark, empty void. Nothing that we ever do will matter because the chipmunks talk really slowly and then speed up their voices.
You've seen Prometheus, then?
Yeah, what the hell was that movie about?
God,
fucking chipmunks showing up in that.
What? Weird. Just chipmunks bursting out of a guy because he drank some of the black goo. It was very weird.
I'm sorry, but as someone with a bit of OCD, I'm like, if you stick your finger in a drink that you're passing to me, I'll stab you. Don't do that.
When it's as overt as David does it, you know, sort of like right in front of the camera. Oh, by the way,
he just starts finger banging the shot glass. I would be like, no, I'm not thirsty. I don't think I'll ever be thirsty again. Thank you.
Not after that.
You know, I think it'd be really funny. Like, I'm just imagining that there are people. Well, I know there are people who are going to hear this, and they're just going to go, "Who the fuck are these other two people? Why are they talking about absolute bollocks without saying who they are?"
That's just the people who are coming to our show for the first time.
right, absolutely, yes.
Right, so.
There's always one.
As always.
There's always one. What are they doing? What is this? It says Warhammer up there. What's that?
There's Warhammer in the tags. I don't understand why you're talking so long about Lovecraft's sex life.
Yeah.
Because that's directly stolen and put into Warhammer lore, and you just accuse everyone of not being like as up on the lore as you are. Tried and true.
Absolutely true.
I'm going to try and pave the way forward as best I can. Hold on to you. Hold on, this is going to be a
best of luck.
As always, I am Adam, and I am here with George, who is my constant co-host.
Ladies and gentlemen, hi.
And with us tonight is, much to my great pleasure, the YouTube famous Wib and Snipe.
Don't say that. How dare you? I'm leaving.
Yeah, right. YouTube famous. That's like a backhanded comment, isn't it?
All right, then. Really the term I was originally going to use before I thought I'd throw in that horrible little sentence was the enjoyable swipe.
Okay, go back. Let's go back. No.
All right.
And before we go any further, I have a very important question to ask you both that I have been threatened with my fingers being broken by my wife, which is, are you cat people or dog people?
I think we're both, actually.
Yeah, I think ideally the Snipe and Wib household would be one where we had dogs, but I think the fact that we are only semi-functional people means that the cat is probably a more safe choice for us.
I do like cats, though.
We do like cats as well.
I would. My dream is to get a cat and call it, if it's a girl cat or a boy cat, basically the gendered equivalent of grandma. Because it's like, I'm so sorry I was late. I had to take grandma to the vet. She ate a weird rat and she's been throwing up behind the fridge all day. And I'm like, Grandma, get out.
It's when you stood at the door calling it, Grandma! Get in here! Stop killing birds, Grandma!
Grandma got pregnant by the next door neighbor's cat. It was really fucking awkward.
The big Tom next door. Oh, it was so, yeah. Should have heard it. It was awful.
Jesus Christ. I went places, you went further, honey.
Wow. But yeah, there is a noted tendency for this show to veer Slaneshward sometimes, you know.
Only sometimes? Well, I'm here to help you out there.
I just like the idea of trying to tell somebody that you had to disentangle grandma from the neighbour's dick. It's like, it's horrible. It's
I had to jingle
right
a bag of Werther's Original just to get her attention. I was like, I'm terribly sorry. I've just run over grandma.
I like the idea of Werther's Original being like catnip, but for grandmas, and it does the same thing to them.
Can you imagine like dropping some Werther's Original on the floor and your nan just starts rubbing her face on the carpet?
I used to work in a dementia unit. I've seen it.
Oh no, I feel horrible now. No.
Oh my god.
I guess I could make the cat name really bad if its name was like Daddy or something.
Oh no.
Hi, I'm here to bring Daddy to his vet appointment.
You can't
I've got to go
say
home.
it
I've got
in
to
a
feed
casual
Daddy.
way. Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, I hate that. Daddy had surgery, now Daddy's wearing a cone.
Oh, Daddy's got out of his collar again.
Oh, Daddy. You
so
mischievous Daddy.
And so on, and so forth, and on it goes.
Daddy
See, I'm
chewed
just a
on my
real fan.
Redempted Dreadnought. There we go. We've mentioned Warhammer.
Oh,
Everything's
yeah.
fine.
There you go.
I just be a real fan of naming cats things that are like just regular human names. So having a cat called like Craig, I think is very funny.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm.
I like that. I have a female cat named Rufus.
Oh,
That's
so
good.
cool.
That's good.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's not bad.
Yeah,
It's a
But
we-
yeah.
long-standing tradition. We name female cats traditionally male names and male cats traditionally female names. It's kind of fun.
That's
So
dope. as hell.
I'm a big fan of naming animals after other animals. So like I know it's actually a flurkin, but the cat from Captain Marvel being named Goose. I'm a big fan of that.
Well, what about the cat from the Constantine movie that's called Duck?
That's brilliant. I like
It's
that.
pretty good. I like
I
it.
do not
Yeah.
remember that at all. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's such a pass. It's such a nothing kind of. It must have been in like the Hellblazer comics or something because I've never really read them, so I couldn't tell you. But
Yeah.
it was kind of like so specific. I'm like, this has to be a reference to something.
It's a thing. Yeah, this is definitely a thing. It's like the Elden Ring fan base calling what are clearly tortoises dogs.
Mm. I don't know anything about that kind of fandom. I'm no good at Dark
So
Souls or
weird.
the Souls-like games. So
It's so weird. Whenever a tortoise occurs in the game, there is always a note next to it that says dog, usually with a question mark.
Amazing chest ahead.
That too, yes.
well, so I remember when we
Oh.
first played. I think it was release day of like the updated Dark Souls 2.
Yeah, Scholar of the First Sin.
Yeah, and like the first area when the notes on the floor started appearing, the first one I read was the very first one, which had thousands of upvotes or whatever they call it, and it just said "pretty but expensive." And I was like, "I feel
Yeah.
you, man! Holy shit!"
Absolutely.
People were very creative with those things. Like the classic
were.
is tongue but hole.
Yeah, try butthole,
Ghastly.
butthole, etc.,
Yeah.
etc.
I always like to try jumping myself because it was like, "Oh fuck you!"
Because that would always be next to a bottomless pit.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're like, "Oh, piss
Every
off."
single time. Secret path here. No, there isn't.
Oh, what about
There's
the most wholesome one? Hang in there, skeleton.
Yeah.
I always liked that one. It was cute.
So that was
Oh
always put
my
as a
God.
skeleton. I think it is in DS2, where it's like inside a like smelting pot or something, and it's like just half hanging out. It's like, hang in there, skeleton.
I like the idea of just using skeletons to just get across really wholesome ideas and concepts. Yeah, just
If
having.
it's wholesome, it's not going to be in Dark Souls.
I don't know. I mean, you can find
Definitely
wholesome in. I'm sure you can find wholesome anywhere. You know,
Really?
It
We're
just
talking
depends
about
on your
40K.
point of view.
People
Wholesome?
find wholesomeness in 40k all the time.
Really?
Literally, the listeners can't see this, but my icon on Discord is the Nurgling from like the Rogue
Oh.
Trader trailer ages ago,
Absolutely.
where he's wearing sunglasses. That's
Yes.
a bit of wholesome
He's just a
40k.
happy
That's
little
fairly
guy.
wholesome. Yeah. The little Nurgling with the Plague Marine helmet too. That
Oh, the
that's,
sassy boy.
Nurgling. Yeah.
yeah, that's very wholesome indeed.
See, we are talking about Warhammer.
Obligatory Warhammer mentioned.
We're even having a moral debate about it, which the fandom loves. So there.
I'm just imagining, because we were just talking about Dark Souls, like, you know, there's just a Warhammer mentioned, it just comes up in the middle of the screen and then just carries on.
Yes, that's it. We fulfilled our requirements, and that's it.
Why?
Well, I mean, we've already spoken about Dark Souls for like 3 minutes, so I think we're actually getting better at that.
We're doing all right.
Yeah, because I mean,
Good.
I know nothing of Dark Souls. I know absolutely
Well,
nothing.
there's a
it's bigger
character
than
called
kids,
Dark
so-
Souls, and you have to go collect the souls.
Mhm.
To put inside
As
him.
To put inside him because he's a naughty boy.
So you play a character called Dark, and you're going to go and collect all of the souls to stick inside yourself to become Dark Souls.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it is.
And then once you reach over 3,000, you have over 3,000 souls.
Yeah.
And then you become the demon's soul, and then they give you a nice little ring. A bloke called Eldon. It gives it to you.
Eldon the Eld, yeah.
Yeah. He was born of blood, you see.
Pet tortoise dog.
Yeah.
I'm trying desperately to find a Tenchu joke, but I'm just leaving it alone. Can't do it.
You see, I was trying to work into like another Souls-like, and I was trying to work in a joke to the Surge, but I'm the only person that likes the Surge games. So
that's not true. Casey Explosion is cool. And
okay, yeah, there's me and Casey Explosion, the only people that like the Surge games.
I don't even know what they are. I'm so
they're like sci-fi Souls, basically.
Yeah, it's like what if it was Dark Souls, but all of the enemies are like reanimated humans in like mech suits because they were on a hyper-capitalist island, and everyone's brains got fried by a sort of like waking technological nightmare.
Oh, I like the sound of that. That's great.
It's a very flawed game, but the first one especially, once you get into the groove of it, I find something that's really compelling there. The boss fights all have really badly telegraphed like gimmicks. But once you understand that, then you can get on with it quite well. But it's one of those games where I enjoy, but I do not blame a single person who played 5 minutes of it and went, I'm fucking out.
Right. Got you. So flawed but interesting, yeah?
Yeah, I think if you can find, especially the first one, the second one is technically a better game. It's got much more to it, but like I also don't like it quite as much. I think because it's not as good for replaying. Because you can, I got to something stupid like new game plus 5 or 6 on the first game because it's sort of built with that kind of replayability in mind, whereas the second one isn't, so I didn't get as much out of it. But if you can find them cheap, give them a shot. I think they're worth another look. They're certainly a lot better than the devs' first Souls-like, which is the first Lords of the Fallen, which is absolutely unplayably bad.
I remember that.
Execrable, yeah.
Yeah, it's so bad. I've heard the new one because they did one like was it last year or something?
Sorry.
But anyway, I heard the new one's all right.
Yeah, by all accounts, not bad. Yeah. Not bad. Adam's still in hysterics. What have we done?
Look in the text channel.
I missed something here, clearly.
Snipe has created the Warhammer mentioned overlay in a Dark Souls style.
Sorry, I could not help it.
Oh, that got me off. That caught me off balance.
Sorry.
That really got you. Oh my god.
It's so dumb. It's so brilliant. Oh, fuck me.
I apologize for bringing this lovely podcast to a screeching halt with
this is
stupid
normal.
image macro.
This is totally normal, so worry you not.
Good.
Oh,
bloody crying.
People are going to be very comfortable with all of this.
We should try harder then. I'm all about that confrontational art. You want people to be a little bit uncomfortable all the time.
Oh god.
Dragonsandcars.com. There you go. That's the way you get people.
Yeah. There we go.
Get people upset. Yeah.
Oh.
And one picture of Sean Connery naked in a sauna that I've got.
No.
When I ask people.
Only one picture? Are you even a Sean Connery fan at this point?
Not really.
Okay, that's fair.
But I like to ask people if they enjoyed Sean Connery's work and would they like to see more of him.
And normally you just say, and most people assume they're just going to get sent a picture from Zardoz, but you go the extra mile.
Yep. I just go full swinging. It's swinging.
Just like him, apparently.
Yep.
As it were. Get bang for your buck from you, Adam, don't we?
Well,
it's why in my not my last job, but the one before, my mate James used to fear coming on shift with me because he never knew which version he was going to get. Is it going to be one that's going to really make him uncomfortable, or is it going to be one that makes him laugh? And I decided to keep up the pressure after he once asked me if people from Seville, from the town of Seville, were called civilians. And I had to, he needed punished for that. So that's why the Sean Connery thing happened.
Wow. Brilliant.
That's fair. That's fair.
And the discovery that if you only sing the first 3 lines of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles tune on repeat constantly, people really do lose their minds very quickly.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
None of this is backed is condoned by the Vatican. I'm sorry. I forgot. I forgot because that's the start of a game called Faith. It's like an old Atari-esque kind of style game, and it starts off with "None of what I am about to do has been endorsed by the Vatican," and I'm like, I want that on my tombstone,
on shirt at least.
Yes, exactly, and I want to go explicitly to like orgies.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was
stand
thinking,
around.
I was thinking Pride. I was thinking, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That would be a really good Pride shirt, actually.
It would be, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Only if you put Russell Crowe's face next to it.
All the eyes are Russell Crowe's disapproving face.
Yep. Well, I think just
the only problem there, you wouldn't know what accent to read it in.
Oh, that's true. I mean, I don't think he knows what accent to use anyway,
Exactly.
so...
I don't even think he knows what accent he's got.
Really mean. What is wrong with me tonight? That was bitchy as hell.
We're here. It's fine.
Must be that. It's your influence. That's what it is.
Something's gone wrong with the summoning. All right, then we're gonna. We seem to be in a lull, so I'm going to now take the reins. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm Snipe.
I'm Wib, by the way.
Yeah, hostess of my favorite ghost hunting TV show on YouTube. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
It's one episode that you and your missus have watched and no one else.
Yeah.
No one else.
Well,
how I missed this. That sounds great to me. You two doing like ghost hunting stuff. Sounds
we bought a little. It's supposed to detect like electromagnetic fields kind of thing.
An EMF.
We literally bought an EMF reader, and then we went around and we're like, "Ghosts aren't fucking nowhere. What the fuck? 0 stars on Amazon, you pricks."
Yeah, 0 stars on Amazon for this world and this metaphysics that has no ghosts. God damn it.
Yeah.
0 stars. Like kids are crying. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm really proud of that video. But yeah, no, it turns out if you make your channel all about like Warhammer, and then suddenly you make a video out of nowhere about ghosts, not as many people watch as you hope.
Warhammer has ghosts. I don't understand why people didn't like it.
I don't get it. People liked the Mothman video and the Bigfoot video, but apparently ghosts too far.
Oh, right,
Mothman, queer icon, he, they.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We stand.
I
you see someone put a butthole sticker on the statue?
Yes.
There's a little anus sticker someone just stuck on there.
If people don't know, in Point Pleasant in West Virginia, there is a statue to the Mothman.
And now it has an anus, apparently.
Yeah, it also had a little tramp stamp for a while above its butt.
Yeah, someone like put a little tampon on it. Yeah.
Didn't they have to put a PSA up going, "Stop shoving pennies in its ass crack"? Because we on the Mothman video, we accidentally buggered the site, like the visitor center guest book on the website, because after our video loads of people were like, I was strolling through Point Pleasant and I felt a sudden sexual presence nearby. There's all this
there was a bunch of them beforehand, but
there were,
let's just say that after we made it, when we did our video about Mothman, because again, Warhammer YouTubers, we've made a video about Mothman, of course.
Very on topic.
It's a standard thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the Warhammer space, everybody does it.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to do your cryptids. You know, it's everyone. You know, every stand-up's got the Joker. Jokes about I don't know what their mother-in-law, airline food, whatever.
Their mother made airline food, and
everyone's always got the kind of old faithful things that they have to go back to. And for Warhammer YouTubers, it's making cryptid videos. But we got to the end. Towards the end of the video, we start talking about the Mothman app, because there's a Mothman museum in Point Pleasant that may or may not be run by a guy who I'm not 100% sure how sincere he is, but you know, that's neither here nor there. But they had an app where it would give you all information because there's a Mothman festival every year, and there was like you could report sightings on the app.
Brilliant.
And there was what it really was just a public submission thing. And so what was happening was people were just going in there to say sexually explicit things about Mothman.
I got confused. It wasn't the website. My bad. Yeah.
And after we made a video, and we got some friends of ours to like do readings of these sexually explicit like comments, and we did a whole bit about it. A handful more appeared after we mentioned it, and then not long after, mysteriously, that part of the app disappeared. And I'm like, oh, was that us? Did we make people realize what was happening?
No, we made people realize that there was like a sex-crazed Mothman wandering around like Point Pleasant, and just basically the tourism for that shot up 800%.
I could imagine,
But there was a line. There was a line to touch his bum, and that's the real Mothman, not the statue. They had to build the statue. Yeah, exactly.
Oh wow!
I have a prophecy for you humans. The Mothman prophecy is a below-average sexual encounter with a cryptid.
Below! Don't rag on out. Like, I think Mothman is a very generous lover. Actually. Things I've said while being fucking recorded. Right.
The problem is you start saying Mothman prophecies and I have flashbacks because for that video I had to read the fucking book.
Was that John fucking Cusack in the Mothman prophecies movie?
No,
it's Richard Gere. Yeah.
Same thing.
The movie's not good, but it's not that bad. The book is truly terrible because there's a grifter called John Keel, who wrote it, and I feel confident calling him a grifter because he's dead, so he can't sue me. But he basically like went to because for people that don't know, the whole Mothman thing was a group of teenagers in Point Pleasant in West Virginia, which is just on the border of Ohio.
Which is bad enough in and of itself.
Yeah, they went somewhere. They went out in the woods to presumably go and make out.
There was four of them in the car. How did that situation arise? I guess they didn't really have TV back then or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's four. They're all wearing. They saw everything that we do is not approved by the Vatican shirts.
Oh yeah.
Getting it on.
It's funny. They described us like a whole roll of butthole stickers. They are
described as two married couples. Then you look up and they're all like 17, and you go, "Oh man, it was a different time in the 60s, wasn't it?"
Yeah.
And they saw what I'm just going to say was a fucking owl. And they thought that it was this bigger creature with glowing red eyes, and they ran away from it. And then over the next few months, people saw big birds, thought they were the Mothman, and then a bridge fell down, and they all kind of forgot about it.
Yeah.
And then John Keel, who was whenever you see like people talking in a documentary and they talk about him like he's a smart person, I want you to know that he thinks that UFOs are real, but you're a moron if you think they're aliens, because they're actually ultra terrestrials that come from inside the Earth but come from a different dimension.
Yes.
Okay.
The flying saucer was coming from inside the Earth.
It had a great ass. What the fuck?
And because I have read his entire book talking about this absolute fucking gibberish, and then he like self-inserts himself into the story, spends a weird amount of it like complaining about his phone bill. And then just like does this whole thing where he connects a thing where literally like I think it was like 40 people died when the Silver Bridge collapsed.
Yeah.
And he like inserts his weird Mothman story into that. Yeah, and
he generates this idea that he was given pre-knowledge of this but didn't know what it was.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Right.
So
it's
John
really fucked up.
John Keel was gross. He wasn't as cool as the John Keel in the Discworld.
Well, I've always wondered, is the John Keel some kind of reference to John Keel, or is it just one of those things that happened? I mean,
I hope it's
Pratchett's brain just absorbed information, so it could be just heard the name once and it's stuck in there.
Yeah.
Maybe,
I mean, I like to think that most people don't have whatever's wrong with my brain, where I have a long series of grievances with people in ufology because of them like just spouting nonsense for years. I'm onto you, Nick Pope. You can't get away from me.
If you were a loved
Giorgio
one,
Sucralose, I know what you're on about.
Giorgio Sucralose, are you fucking... That's not his name.
That's the alien. It's
No.
aliens guy from
His
Ancient
surname
Aliens.
is Sucralose.
Giorgio Sucralose.
Okay, okay.
He's very Greek. Okay.
Yeah, I just thought that's like my full name being like Snipe Artificial Sweetener. It's just kind of weird. So I just thought it was strange.
Have you guys ever come across the Haunted Objects podcast?
No.
New one on me.
So it's two. I think there are a couple. I think I'm not entirely sure because everything they say is
two doesn't usually mean a couple. Sorry.
No.
I'm being a cheeky shit.
Basically, it's a man and a woman, and they own a museum together. But then they seem to go to separate houses, but then they go places together, and I'm just confused about what they're up to. But anyhow,
The whole deal, right?
What they own a museum of haunted objects, and people send them the haunted objects with the full story, and the podcast goes through each object in turn, which is
right.
It's fun. It's good fun. But then midway through season 1, they just went, and here's Jeff Goldblum, because Jeff Goldblum had turned up at their house saying, "Can you take me squatch knocking?" Which surprisingly,
y'all
was
ever want
not
to fuck a
sexual act.
skunk ape?
Yeah. Good old come squatch. No.
Oh my god!
I said one thing about Bigfoot. Damn, got a big ass. Complimentary, Daddy. Whew.
Yeah, so you just get this entire episode of them taking Jeff Goldblum into the woods to go squatch knocking.
Can you imagine what if Jeff Goldblum showed up at my fucking house and went, "Could you show me a Bigfoot?" I would be like, I'm either dying and my brain this is the last few minutes of oxygen, my brain is trying to like flick through stuff, or I have like someone has snuck me some like primo drugs.
Mm-hmm.
What is happening?
That's my feeling too. I would feel that there must be something terribly wrong with me.
Yeah.
You'd have to lick him just to see if he's real.
I mean, I would anyway, but
yeah, definitely.
I'm such a big fan. Okay, bye.
Yeah, isn't it? I mean, you need to take your chance while he's there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little known fact, but it turns out Jeff Goldblum is actually a kind of Sasquatch. You know,
kind of cryptid in and of himself.
Yeah.
I mean,
I want to get a video of him
that.
like the classic video of the Bigfoot walk striding through the wilderness. You know?
The Patterson-Gimlin footage.
The old Patty.
Yeah.
Do you know, you know what annoys me about that footage? And
it's not sexy enough.
Everything.
Wait, he's not wearing a sailor's hat. That's it. The fact that this thing was shown to be fake years ago, like decades ago. The people who made it said, "Yeah, he's in an ape costume, and it's just my mate." And the fact that it has been not just disproven, but actually by the people who made it, and it just refuses to go away.
It's exactly like the alien autopsy video where they're like, "Yeah, no, it was a flat in London," and everyone's like, "That's what they're paying them to say." My neighbour Deirdre, she said that actually aliens were telling them to say that because they were like, "Oh no, they're onto it." What?
There is nothing you can say. There's nothing you can do.
No.
I think the problem with the Patterson-Gimlin like being proved fake thing is that it has been, like loads of people have come out to say that, it was fake. This was how it was done. But too many people with contradictory versions of it have said it, which makes it, which like removes credibility from that, because it means that, someone's lying, but multiple people are lying about it. So it's like, what's the actual truth? It also doesn't help that like the camera was running at if I remember correctly, because I'm not very good with how old cameras work, but it was basically running at the wrong speed. So it looks weird as well. So it gives it an even more like weird, jarring look to it, because it's not running, the camera's not doing what it's supposed to.
No, it's running at half crank.
Yeah.
I certainly wasn't when I watched that footage, let me tell you, everybody. I was sitting there. A ring pillow had to come out. I don't know what the fuck that means.
I'm more of an Almasty man myself, so
Almasty getting nasty. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice.
For people that don't know, that's like
I don't fucking
Russian Bigfoot.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
That's
My favorite thing for a while was there's a cryptid subreddit, which I thought mistakenly was primarily for people who was like, cryptids are kind of cool, let's talk about cryptid lore. But it tends to be weirdos who come in who have just like, I don't know, downloaded paint.net. And there was a dude for like a couple of months who would post maybe twice a week and talk about the goblins in his garden. And this man, I believe, was just trying to have the next big spooky, this is the internet mystery, but he was so bad at Photoshop thing, and he was like, I saw this while my brother was playing basketball, and it was just like a photo of a guy playing basketball, and then there was like they'd like color replaced Dobby the elf as green and put him in the background, and I'm like, mate, that is what are you doing?
Don't get me wrong. Some of those videos, look, you've got the top 10 scariest videos on YouTube. And, they're all bullshit, but they can be so much fun. They can give you a bit of a chill, because of the way they're framed and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But my God, I love it when nobody puts any effort in like that, when it's just complete nonsense.
It's the funniest thing I
love it.
Oh God. The thing is, he was doing it so earnestly. I was like, I think dude just really wanted like a spooky YouTuber to like do a video on him or something, and it was like, oh honey, because he kept reusing. Oh, sorry.
The best ones of those are like where the scary music is playing and the voiceover is saying now.
Oh, you mean the bit of Kevin MacLeod music?
Kevin MacLeod,
exactly,
like, I was in my car when I heard a brew jar, and you're like, what?
And then like the footage slows down and the camera pans aside, and did you see it? And then they'll put a red circle or something, and there's nothing fucking there, and it's like just a normal person walking along the path, and you're like, what?
All right, my name's Bert. I'm just walking my dog.
Did you see Keith? He was off for a cheeky Tesco's at 2 a.m. Ooh, meal deals for 20p.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love that shit. I think that shit is so much fun. Yeah. But as long as you get into it, you could take it as entertainment. But when they're not even making any effort, or they're trying to make something out of absolutely nothing,
yeah,
like, come on,
so
give me
there's
something.
a guy on Instagram. And I cannot remember his name now.
Who you're is he the guy that does a lot of like spooky skits?
No, he
not skits.
He had noises coming from the woods around his house, and eventually the noises started coming from his roof.
Oh,
and it starts off just like that. It's like, did you see it? Like red circle, and there's nothing there. But as these videos come out, it gets more and more subtle.
Okay.
It's like, I don't know if he learns how to do it, or if this was on purpose, that he was just trying to drag you in with the shitty version. And the last video, it has this thing jumping down at him from his roof, and he's never put another video up, and it's really well done.
That's clever.
That sounds really cool. That. Like my favorite creepypasta ever is Ted the Caver, or Ted's Caving Page.
I don't know that one.
Oh, it's so good. It was a long time ago, internet-wise, it was like it's ancient history. But it's basically a guy called Ted who just documents him and his friend going spelunking like recreationally.
Which, to be honest, is already a terrifying activity for the deranged.
You don't need monsters or anything.
You don't. Really. I'm terrified already. And he kind of talks about like, oh yeah, and like I think he has his friend his name starts with B, but he's like, oh, for privacy purposes, I'll just call him B. And like they kind of explore this cave and they start hearing strange noises, and it's nothing too overt, and it's very subtle, and it's like things get progressively a bit spookier, and there's one point where like that I always remember where he's like, because he's guiding himself through with a rope that he tied around something because he's quite deep in, and he cuts it, and then he goes to pick up the rope and pull it, and something is holding it. And I was like, Jesus, I'm reading this getting scared. I'm like, I know it's obviously fake, but it's like, but there's so much plausible deniability that it makes it really scary because it sounds very, very real. Because you're not going to go, hey, up, I just come back from Alton Towers. There was a fire and the fire was a ghost. And, you're just going to go, oh, yeah, they shut down some rides. It was really weird. They're not going to go, they shut down rides because the tracks were haunted and kept making weird sex noises. And they just didn't want that happening, And also the guy who was operating the fucking, I don't know, the wooden roller coaster was like sitting there sharpening his fish hook and going, sure, can't wait to murder some people for no reason. Which I thought was weird at the time, but I shrugged it off. You tell I have read a lot of creepypastas.
Oh, honestly, I love that stuff. I absolutely love that stuff. There's a lot of crap, but some of it, some of the YouTube stuff, there is some really sophisticated pieces of work.
Honestly, yeah. There's some really fantastic stories. And then there's this I went to Disneyland.
Sonic.exe.
Yeah.
Sonic.exe, exactly. Yeah.
No. It was hyper realistic. It's like, mate, it's a fucking SNES, yeah? No, that's not happening.
I found this weird old SNES cartridge on the pavement outside kind of thing, yeah?
Yeah, I found it on a pavement outside, and it was on a pentagram, and a witch was nearby, and she was like, nah, that one's shit, you can have it, mate. And I took it home.
That sounds like the best Magnus archive that was never made.
Do it, cowards. Rusty Quill at cowards. I'm calling them out right now.
Rusty Quill presents The Witch That Shat Out a SNES.
Rusty Quill presents What If Godzilla, the SNES game, was real and killed your family, but also said bollocks to your mum before it did it, and then you felt bad because someone swore at you. I don't know. Can you tell I'm very good at writing creepypastas?
I can tell you're a fake fan because the Godzilla creepypasta is about the NES game.
Okay, listen here. I'm sorry that I disrespected your creepypasta that you wrote and think is really scary, but it isn't.
No, that story is actually one of the reasons why I don't read creepypastas, because I read it and I went, this is pure shite, mate.
I will say I found a weird game cartridge in the woods kind of thing. I've only really seen that done well once, which is in Valle Verde. If you haven't heard of it, it's like a YouTube series.
No,
where it's predominantly in Spanish, but it is translated, if I remember correctly. So if you don't have to speak Spanish to watch it. But this guy's basically like, I found this. It's like an N64 cartridge, and it's of a game called Valle Verde, or like basically Green Valley, and honestly, it's like incredible the effort that's gone to it, where they've made like all these assets that look exactly like you would find on an N64 kind of like adventure game. It's fantastic, and it goes in. It's like, oh, this is a game that's testing brand new AI, and it starts getting more messed up, and it's a big reveal. It's honestly, it's great. It reminds me of a bit like, if you guys ever seen or heard of Petscop.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
It's a bit like that. Which Petscop was pretty good. Also,
Petscop.
I love the Nightmare Masterclass breakdown on it.
Yes,
that man is really incredible.
Yeah. Well, it's a brilliant piece of work, Petscop, but it is very detailed and obscure.
Exactly, yeah.
Notice in it.
I like it. Honestly, those kind of things like that. Very, very well done. But it's obviously meant not as this happened for real, but it's I can't remember. I think
fiction, right? It's presented in this beautiful way. It's very, very good. So and again, these assets created.
I know. It's like, okay, so you basically built a PS1 game. That's wow. That's incredible.
That is impressive stuff.
It's like I used to be. I used to look at the 2-sentence horror stories on Reddit, and it was like, what was it? There was one that got banned, but also became like the story got really famous. It was something like, I go into my house and am alone. Hello there, says Dick Sucker Man, or something. I can't remember. And I was just like,
Didn't you make a video that was you reading out like 2-sentence horror stories?
No, I made a video where I do dramatic readings of creepypasta titles on the No Sleep subreddit.
Yeah.
So it's like, my grandmother ate 3 chickens. in brackets, the police were called. I can't remember what it was called. But yeah. Just...
The letter came through the door. I was confused because it was a cupboard door.
My mom made me breakfast for the 3rd time that day, which was weird because it was lunchtime. Huh?
I actually thought you were going to go through, my mother made me breakfast for the 3rd time that day, which was weird because she was dead.
That's where my mind was going.
See, comedy. It's the throwing away your expectations and basically making them unfunnier, so it's funnier again.
Yeah.
Yeah, essence of...
it was weird because she was actually my cat.
Mother! Meow. Meows. Like, oh, dang.
That's what we call a callback.
Yes.
Grandma. Meow.
Grandma, could you stop, like, I don't know, flirting with the next door neighbor's cat and finish making me What pancakes? I called burgers beef pancakes earlier. My medicine's wearing off. Can you tell?
Beef pancakes.
Beef pancakes. Yeah, apparently that's a part of ADHD where you basically you act as if you don't speak English as a primary language, even though you do. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I don't remember what the lawnmower is. So it's like, oh, I need to go and hoover the earth fur or something, and it'll be something weird like that.
Outside, yeah.
Yeah, I need to hoover earth hair. You know. Usual stuff.
That's like when you call the bedroom the kitchen that we sleep in.
I like that.
Well, yeah. Now we're just going to talk about how silly my brain is.
Well, no, because I'm with you on the ADHD. We're ADHD buddies.
Yeah, we can't get shit done.
Oh no, it works the other way for me, where I can't. There's not enough time in the day for me to do all the things that are in my brain to do.
Oh God. See, I get that, but then I sit down and just don't do anything.
Yeah, no.
Like,
if I'm sitting down, then there's something in the back of my head that's just basically going, you're wasting time. Just you're going to be dead soon. Move, do things.
Yeah, and then you don't.
Yeah,
so fun.
Exhausting. But yeah, I've never had the wrong words. What I usually find is that my mouth can't run the words as fast as they're being delivered. And so they all kind of get portmanteaued into stuff, and it gets all blah, 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 blah. And then I just end up with, like, the macro oven, as I've just tried to, like, combine microwave and oven at the same time because I was trying to work out what it was.
It's not the microwave, it's the macrowave. Fear it.
Right.
Macrowave, the smallest transformer.
He's waving, say hello.
Ugh, that was terrible. I'm so sorry.
I suppose city formers could be macro masters.
Yeah, I mean, Metroplex could be a macro master easy enough. You know, you've got any of the Titans, I suppose, would be macro masters. But then Tidal Wave, is Tidal Wave macro?
Well, I mean, the recent release is a Titan class. So
yeah.
I never watched the Unicron trilogy stuff because it hurts my head. So
yeah, please don't. It is a headache on celluloid. It is so tooth grating.
Outside of being a complete and utter mess, there's nothing wrong with Armada.
Now everything I've had from the toys from the Unicron trilogy, those seem great.
They are.
So, no complaints there. I got sent a Sideways in the PO box.
Oh, nice.
He's really fun.
Yes,
I think he's from Armada. I think. The version of him that's a bike, anyway.
The bicycle one, the double headmaster one.
Yeah, real cool. With the gimmick where whichever one you plug into him gives him a different faction symbol, so he can do the kind of punch counter punch thing. Quite fun.
Spy thing.
Yeah, one of the things I was actually going to ask you guys is, have you been down to TFN yet, to Transformers Nation?
Oh, yes.
No, I do want to. But
honestly, it's so good. The community that's built up there, largely through YouTube and the internet, is so good. It's so good.
It's one thing I really want to do. It's just been the last couple of years, just when it's rolled around, it's not been a good time for us to, we just haven't really had the excess sort of cash to throw down to get down there and stuff. And it is because I do really want to.
So I was wondering about it because I noticed there's a lot of Transformers stuff that had been turned up on YouTube for the last couple of years, and as somebody who was heavily into his Transformers.
Weren't you part of the team once, Gruff?
Yes.
Nation,
Yeah.
weren't you?
Yeah, I was
nice.
the handyman basically. Of,
Oh, nice.
Get a message over the the thing going, we had a broken boom mic in the second room. Can somebody come down? And never mind, Adam's here with sticky back plastic and super glue.
Yeah, but that's how Adam and I started to interact, isn't it? That's how
Yes.
we met.
He had sticky back plastic and super glue. You needed them.
That's exactly what it was.
If
Yeah.
memory serves me right, mate, it was actually I had mead and you guys needed mead.
Yes.
And then there was 3 hours sitting in a van drinking mead.
Drinking mead and then walking back to the hotel from the car park very tricky.
Yes,
That is the most Viking way to meet ever. Like complimentary. That's awesome.
Honestly. And then people started coming with mead and horns to drink it out of.
Yep.
Oh yes, very good, very good.
You see, it's something I found really
Long
interesting.
hair and beard as well, so very Viking.
Yeah. Lots of leather at that point as well.
No judgment.
I find it really interesting that there is this crossover because I was into Transformers as a kid.
Yes.
And like then I when the first live action movie came out, I bought a few things. Like I bought MP1 Optimus and classic Starscream, and I think I had the movie Landmine and what's he called? He's the central part of the Combaticons.
Onslaught.
Onslaught. I had the classics Onslaught as well. I got rid of him. I really wish I kept him because he's really cool.
He was.
But I bought a bunch of those, and then I just didn't really have the money to like do anymore, and I kind of left it. And then a few years ago, I think it was because I caught like some early TRDQ episodes, and then I was like, oh yeah, Transformers are cool, and like I bought on a whim, I bought a Sharkticon Studio Series Sharkticon and Kingdom Cyclonus, and then and that basically those two gave me the bug. And so,
I mean, Kingdom Cyclonus is a masterpiece.
He's just magic. Like how the nose cone comes out of the body. That is magic. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And for the first time ever, Cyclonus is big, like he's supposed to be, big and beefy and chunky.
It's the first time Cyclonus has really been Cyclonus, like the screen version of him. Anyway, but what I was really surprised when I got into it and I started like doing stuff and it started coming up here and there on the channel was finding out how big a crossover between like Warhammer 40,000 fans and Transformers fans there really is. Like it felt when I started talking about it like it was half of our audience was secretly Transformers fans and had just not been able to have an outlet with other fans for a lot, well, other like 40k fans, and it was like, oh, are you all into this too? Oh, okay, well, sure. Okay, cool.
There's a really weird reason for it, and this is going to get odd and political, and I apologize. And I'm going to put that prefix up here before I get into it.
No politics in my Warhammer or Transformers or whatever.
Neither of these things have ever had any allusion to politics. What's that? Transformers is based around the origin story is about like fuel shortages.
I literally
in
saw
the 70s
somebody
is where the idea comes from, and Warhammer is entirely based around the concepts of authoritarianism and what it does to a society. No politics in that.
I literally saw today someone complaining on a subreddit going, everyone's like, they've made Final Fantasy VII woke. They've made it political. You start off doing a terrorist attack.
Right.
Yeah. You literally start off
as eco-terrorists.
You are eco-terrorists.
Yeah. Fighting against this giant company that's sucking all the energy out of the world and causing it to go barren.
Just for money. Yeah, I'm so glad they didn't make it political by putting a chick in it.
Not like
but yes, you were saying about the...
sorry. So
yes. What's happened, especially in the UK, is that Transformers has gained a large left-leaning audience.
I love it.
Right? And it's down to More Than Meets the Eye.
Yes.
The IDW comic. Yeah. So it changed how Transformers was perceived in quite a lot of different communities when it stopped being big boys with big guns go boom, 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 and started playing around with the ideas of self and gender within the Transformers, and all this type of big concepts. If you haven't read it, I would recommend reading it. It does go off the boil a little bit, but it is worth a read.
It will make you feel feelings about Whirl.
It'll make you feel feelings about Megatron.
The art is gorgeous.
Matumti Megatron is so fucking good.
Yeah, love it.
I mean, especially that first run, the team that they had on that first run of issues is just glorious. And I'm not going to say his name, because if I say his name, the Canadian man will turn up and snap my neck. So,
not again.
Oh, it's happened before. So that's kind of what happened to the Transformers community, more in UK and Europe than in America, but there is a large amount of it in America as well. Now, what happened weirdly with Warhammer is that a lot of people kind of cottoned on to what Warhammer started with about 10, 15 years ago, when this interest in Rogue Trader started up again. And by going back to that, some people are saying, it's weird, I like it. But other people are seeing it and going, actually, I get what's going on behind the scenes here. So once again, you get that, you get that left-leaning audience. And as they're all of an age where both Warhammer and Transformers have revitalized themselves and created new cycles throughout their childhood into teenagers, and then you come back to it in adulthood, you have this massive collection of people who are left-leaning right the way through to and probably full socialist, who have got into it, and as a result you've got this crossover, and it's a really weird and interesting thing, because I'm hard pressed to think of anything else that has that kind of Venn diagram. It's mental.
It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, like, we've noticed, because we're kind of the old guard at TF Nation now, and we've noticed the demographic shift. It's been wonderful. So now, obviously, there's a lot of younger people there now, which is fantastic. Lots of younger people, which is really, really cool. But there's also a lot of demographics from the queer community, for example. I mean, really, this year and last year, it was like a pride parade. It was wonderful. It was absolutely superb. And it's so odd, because like when I remember when I first attended, which was in 2009. I and a mutual friend of ours, Ray Curran, I remember talking to him and saying, like, because he's gay as well, and we were like, are we like the only gay people who are going? Are we going to like the only gays in the village?
The only gays at TF Nation.
Yeah, at TF Nation. No. We weren't, which is really, really nice. And now we're definitely not. We're milk toast compared,
Honestly, it's one of the things. I
absolutely love it. I love to see it.
One of the things I really liked about getting into Transformers in the last handful of years was because I got into it in the post More Than Meets the Eye world.
Yeah.
Was just how diverse and accepting the community was as a whole, and just how everyone was just kind of chill about stuff, and coming at that from the endless culture war bollocks that's going on in 40k at any given time. Coming into it from that, where it was just like, oh, this is just nice. Everyone's just like, oh yeah, this is what Transformers about, and it's everyone's kind of chill. Obviously, there's always bad actors. There's always going to be.
Yeah, there have been a few. A couple of them followed us through to the Fluffenhammer, didn't they? Rough at one point.
Yes, they're not there anymore.
Eject them,
There's always going to be some, There's, But it just felt like it's a community that sort of knew what it was about and knew where it was standing, and it felt like it had done the work to really sort of put down the lines which shouldn't be crossed, like positively, like the things that are like, and I was like, no, this is actually really nice. I feel like this is kind of a really chill thing to interact with, as opposed to what I do for a day job, where I'm constantly finding ways to this is an allusion to like fascism. Please stop being mad at me whenever I mention that. It's the text, guys.
Yeah.
You feel that at TF Nation, you really do. It is such a positive, welcoming space, and it's also very, very chill. A lot of the guests, the voice actors, and the cartoonists, and the comic book artists and writers like to come back to TF Nation, because word gets around that it's not really like a normal convention, where they get mobbed all the time and whatnot. A lot of the time, they do come out to the bar and they just chat, and they just sit around, and it's been really good, actually. I mean, some of the chats we've had with people, I mean, it's been really interesting, really fascinating. It was several years back, and a voice actor by the name of Scott McNeil.
Yeah, known him, but again, another person who's an interesting crossover between Transformers and 40K.
Right. He just came outside when we were at the bar and sat with us and drank with us, and it was great. It was really, really fun. You know, it was chill. He wasn't being badgered or bothered or anything, and he wasn't always being. You know, it wasn't always Transformers chat. It was other stuff as well. And that was really, really lovely. Really nice.
Well, McNeil got involved with our high five competition. Where you had to get a run up to get a high five.
He was a tall guy.
Yeah. He was a hard man to make his hand move with a high five, I'll tell you that much. Oof. That man is solidly built.
Yeah.
But like Greg Berger. You know, Greg Berger comes back every year. Well, not every year, but Greg Berger comes back as often as he can.
Yeah, Grimlock,
yeah, and the first time he ever...
Sorry, I've heard he's super into, like, he's totally down to just do stuff in Grimlock voice.
Oh, yeah. He's amazing.
And, getting him to do the Grumble voice from Our Real Monsters really...
Oh my god, he did the Grumble?
I didn't realise that was him. Oh, wow.
That's so cool.
It was the Grumble. Hearing it come out of his mouth at the bar was really strange. It was really strange.
It was either the first or the second. I think it was the second time we'd gone to TFN. He'd brought his son and daughter with him.
Aww.
And he had to go to the Revenge of the Fallen screening, I think.
That's just an act of violence in and of itself.
Isn't it?
Me, my brother, and his son and daughter were just sitting there just until like 2 a.m, just cracking away. It was like, this is a weird experience. Very, very weird.
To be fair, like conventions in general are often very peculiar because like most of my experience of conventions comes from the few times that our band was asked to play at one. Because we for people that don't know, we have a ska band because we're really cool, and because our songs are kind of a bit like we're not really
ridiculous.
It's not really a comedy band per se, but like our songs are stupid. They're all about stupid things, and we had one about zombies, and that I think that's what did it. That meant that we were pegged to play like weird conventions and things occasionally.
Like
so we did a few
or something like that.
we played a few anime conventions, and the vibe at them was always incredible. Like
it was the energy, because these people are jumping around in the most uncomfortable fucking cosplays you've ever seen, and I'm just like, y'all, how were you doing this? This is incredible.
Dedication, right? And
just so much energy, so much dedication.
Conventions
so
always come in two ways. You either have sad Sunday afternoon car sale or hyper reality. There is no in between.
Because what was the last one? Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go on.
I was going to say we played one. I think it was the last one we actually played, because then everyone in the band started having kids. Skill issue. And it was in London, and the voice actor for Lord Zed just came and watched us.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And I'm like, Wib was like, weren't you actually wearing your Power Rangers t-shirt?
I was wearing a Power Rangers t-shirt, yes.
And we were just like, what the fuck? Oh my god.
Yeah, that was a little surreal.
It was amazing.
I love it.
Oh man.
It was honestly just like, I've forgotten how to play guitar. What the hell am I doing?
All of my fingers have fallen off. Oh no.
Oh, not again.
That was actually a really funny gig, because a guy came over to yell at the sound guy, telling him to turn us down because they were having a DDR competition next door, and so they needed to be able to hear it. And
he came up to the stage and shouted at us, and we're like, we are contractually scheduled to be here, dude. What the fuck? You're embarrassing yourself in front of Lord Zed.
Please tell me the guy that came up to complain was dressed like J-Tro in the FP.
No, I do remember. I think there was a bit where, like, because he came over and like said it, and then Matt, our drummer, like he said, "Oh yeah, I'll turn my drums down," and just turned an imaginary dial next to them.
Yeah, he didn't like that very much.
We did not turn ourselves down.
The thing is, like, we were supposed to be there, and they were having like an impromptu competition. Sorry.
Also, the drums weren't mic'd up. It was just like a native thing. We were playing as loud as we needed to match the drums. It's the nature of live music. Like we can't come down.
Turn it down. Turn down the live music, please.
Can you hit the drums a little quieter?
Although what was really great about that one was there was a couple of kids who
they were like 20, dude. We're old.
I turned 38 the other day. Shut up.
Oh man.
But there was like two of them, and they were both cosplaying as something from some anime that I'm too 38 to recognize.
You just had to say they were cosplaying, honey. You did not need. We knew that part. It's okay.
If it's not Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill, or Mob Psycho 100, I don't know what it is.
Bet you'd recognize Trigun.
No, I did not have an anime phase when I was younger.
Kid. So. I was the anime kid.
But yeah, and they spent our entire set doing dance moves either side of the stage.
The energy these people had was incredible.
They were sweating way worse than any of us were by the end of that
were
set.
like, we're under studio lights. How are you guys sweatier?
No.
Because you're working way harder than we are.
No, they were incredible. They were incredible.
They were great. Cool. I love it.
Again, I love the vibe at convention.
So good.
Most of the conventions I've been to, there's been like a great vibe to them just in general. Like knowing what I do from hearing other people talk about TFN, it is on my list of things I want to go to. I'll try and get down next year.
It is a strangely magical one. I mean, I've been going since 2009, so a long time now. Oh God, and it is consistently brilliant. I mean, going back after the whole sort of lockdown COVID thing,
Backstreet Boys reunion tour. You did proper name.
That thing, yes, was wonderful. Strange. I mean, very strange for a lot of people. I think that the vibe was different because it was, for many of us, it was the first time we'd had a communal event like that.
Yeah.
And there were less people, definitely, at that point.
Yeah.
But wonderful. That kind of broke it for me, certainly. Like the spell of the lockdown. That was it. Oh, it's come back. We've got this.
We're back, baby.
Yeah. It was wonderful.
Not that we went anywhere.
Consistently so. But I've never been to a Warhammer one yet, bizarrely. I've never actually been
we were just before, like, I think it was the year before lockdown, we went and had an amazing time.
2019, yeah.
It was absolutely fantastic. Great energy, met some really wonderful people. And then we were like, oh, can't wait to book the next one. And we booked it, and then Travelodge were pricks and decided to take all of our money. So we were like, okay. Because we were like, hey, it's like, oh, you cancelled. It's like, dude, we are in complete lockdown.
We legally cannot come to the hotel.
Do that. And they were like, yeah, well, we're keeping all your money. And it's like, okay, fuck you guys. I am sending you angry thoughts that I can't say out loud because that might be an actionable threat.
I'm glad you've learned the difference.
Thank you.
All murders are not supplied by the Vatican.
Maybe some could be.
The Warhammer Fest we went to was great, and we barely did. We barely like saw any of the things there because basically we went with like a couple of friends, but we ended with like just this huge gaggle of people that we ran into who
just wanted to hang out and shoot the shit, and it was honestly just great.
A lot of people who we knew as like screen names for years, and we finally met them in person, and it was really really nice, and because that was the year where we got a bunch of like our little D-pad logo. We got a bunch of those printed on badges, and we basically said, hey, if you see us at Warhammer Fest, come yell at us and you can have a badge. And so we were giving those out all day.
Yeah.
So that was
cool.
I did that with Pogs and at the last Warhammer Fest.
Nice.
I got a ton of Pogs done up with my own artwork, and I was just like, here you go, Pogs. Pogs. Pogs for everyone.
Warhammer's back and in Pog form.
We were talking about doing that at one point of getting Pogs made.
Pogs are dope.
Yeah, I think we should do that. We should do that. People get back on that.
People go nuts for Pogs.
You've got to explain what they are, though, for the younger people.
Sorry, kids, I'm going to be honest. You'll never be as cool, hip, or with it.
What do we talk about for a living? Our demographic is old enough to know what Pogs are.
They know what Pogs are. It's fair, yes.
That's when people come up to you and say, are these Pogs? And you go, no, they're Tazos.
Tazos, that's how you pronounce them. Sorry.
No, it's Tazos because they've got the Tasmanian devil on them.
Yeah, Tasmanian
Just because in Australia you don't know how to pronounce Tasmania somehow.
Okay, you can talk smack about Tasmania all fucking day. No one in Australia fucking cares, but it is pronounced Tasmania.
Saying that, though, that is how they sing it in the song.
Yeah. Come to Tasmania. See, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. My world has been rocked. My world is alive.
Yeah, exactly.
That was another very old moment, Adam.
Yeah. That actually reminds me, the other day we were in, there's like a nerd shop in the town we live.
Oh, yeah.
I make out like it's a little town. It's a fucking city, but
we live in a little town.
There's a retro shop, and I went in there, and they had like a complete set of the Star Wars Tazos, like in the presentation,
in the display. Wow. It was awesome,
including all the ones you could only get in Doritos, which I only had one of those as a kid because I didn't like Doritos.
Because you were weak and didn't like Doritos. Yeah.
And I was kind of shocked because I looked at the price. It was like, oh yeah, you want this whole thing? It's like a $5. I'm like, oh wow, I'm glad I didn't keep mine all these years. Then they turned out to not be worth shit.
Right. Those little bits of cardboard.
Yeah,
I remember my cousin, well, my friend, like of parents. You know, that kind of cousin. He would collect Tazos that had like printing errors, and he was like, you know, one day these are going to be worth like $50 each. And I was like, Jono, I don't fucking believe you. But he also had.
I was going to say that's like all the people that collected Star Wars figures in the 90s. Yeah. Which the old Kenner ones, they're worth a load now. It's like, yeah, because they weren't mass produced for collectors in the 90s. Whereas those ones, you can buy them now for less than they were originally bought for.
You can get a rare Han Solo from Power of the Force on eBay right now for 99p.
Yeah,
free P and P.
Please, and especially the ones, especially the unreasonably hench characters. Like you want to see Lando Calrissian, but he is like just
Lefto Calrissian.
Yeah, he is absolutely shredded.
There's a part of me that wants to do things like take those characters. Sorry, George, I was talking right over you there.
Oh, sorry, go on.
So I want to take those toys and make like the Han Solo into Deckard from Blade Runner. Take the Lando Calrissian and turn him into thingy from Predator.
Dylan,
thank you.
Dylan,
you're welcome. Yeah. Played by the late and amazingly great Carl Weathers.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Can you tell I like Arnold Schwarzenegger movies? I hide it well.
As all right people do, yes.
Yes, exactly.
Especially that one, right? Predator.
Predator is such a masterpiece, dude.
Out of interest,
I wish I was stuck in a Venezuelan jungle with a bunch of big men and Jesse Ventura.
Invisible alien, yes.
Oh god, that movie is amazing.
I like how you would put a bunch of big men and Jesse Ventura, giving
the biggest men.
Jesse Ventura isn't one of the big men.
No, I'd swaddle him like a baby.
Honestly, I mean, in the wake of Carl Weathers' death, I rewatched that film for the purposes of the podcast, and they're inhuman. They're guys,
fantastic.
They're like living He-Man action figures, right?
Yeah, fully, absolutely incredible. Like every like month I have to like rewatch Predator and Terminator 2 and like all these beautiful and Batman from 1989, which is an absolute stone cold perfect fucking movie. Yeah. Love it. And like every time I have watched Predator maybe 50 times at least. Wib's like probably twitching right now because he's always
I love Predator 2, just not as much.
You love Predator 2? Me as well.
You love Predator 2? I'm divorcing you.
We actually saw Predator. They did a re-release at the cinema.
Yeah, it was incredible to see it on the big screen. I was vibrating. I was so happy. It was incredible.
It's one of those experiences I envy people who were old enough at the time of its original seeing it, at the cinema. It must have been just so incredible. So incredible. And the 80s was full of that. It was full of that stuff.
It's like I still love Terminator 1, even though, like, unfortunately, because I was quite young when Terminator 2 came out. That was I think pretty much that was probably the first movie people saw in the Terminator franchise. Yeah. So and by the time we saw it as kids, I think we all knew that Arnie was the good robot. Whereas, like, I love rewatching it. Like, there's a bunch of the previews before it came out that was all making out as if Austin, the T-1000 was the good guy, because obviously he's not jacked to fuck. He's not, from the first. So he's obviously the Kyle Reese stand-in from the first one. Yep. And then, like, just before it came out, they had something where they had the T-1000 in the teaser do something that looked a bit bad guy. And I'm like, oh, that's good. And, like, I love watching it, like, pretending that I don't know what's gonna happen. And it's just incredible. Like, the little bits and bobs, like, just kind of like, I am an insufferable movie fan, so I want to be talking about the mise en scène and the general character design and costume design and set design and the colors and the lighting.
Movie fan, so it's fine.
Oh, okay. So, like, literally just everything about it. Like, I mean, you can tell from a cinematic point of view the fact that it spends so much with the T-800, Arnie's Terminator. You can tell that they've got something lined up, because it's spending too much time on a villain that is omnipotent. Because in the first one, he is a stalking specter. He is the snail that kills you instantly, who moves very slowly but will fucking kill you as soon as he touches you.
Almost Michael Myers-esque, right?
Almost. He's a speck. He's always hovering just out of view. You never know where he's going to pop out. But in this one, you're following him a lot more. And then, and, like, just the little subtle things, like when the T-1000, like, knifes that cop in the stomach and shows off his coin purse. I couldn't help it. I'm sorry. It just looks, and, like, they've got the squelch for the stab down ridiculously low in the mix, so it's actually quite hard to hear. So you could go, oh, well, he's probably just stabbed the guy or something like that, but you also don't see a weapon, you don't see anything like that. And, like, even the point where he gets into, like, he first gets into the cop car and he runs his fingers along the top of it like he's looking for an interface he can plug into, and then he notices the keypad, and I'm like, this is incredible. I am freaking out. This is why Webb doesn't watch this movie with me anymore, because I pause it every 5 minutes to go, do you see that? Do you see the colored lighting that they chose for the scene? The underlighting in this. Definitely.
Again, I have also seen this at the cinema with
It was incredible. We had to see it in 3D because that was the only, like, kind of way to see it. But I mean, I'm like, I don't care. Terminator 2 is my absolute favorite movie, and I would watch it in 3D. I don't care. I'd watch it in 4D and pay, like, Linda Hamilton to spit on me. I don't care. Like, sorry, that was repulsive.
But I don't think you're alone in that, so that's fine.
Honestly, I'm not, and I'm happy that I'm not.
The thing that always sticks in my mind about the making of Terminator 2, and I don't know if you guys have ever watched the documentary about it, but there's the scene where Arnie and Patrick kind of meet for the first time and have that fight in the mall.
Yeah.
It's like you've just got Cameron going, no, this is the first time this has ever happened. No one's going to be expecting it. I need you two to go. I need you to fucking go.
Honestly, the facial expressions in that scene,
like, or the lack thereof.
Well, no, I mean, you see the T-1000 is a lot more emotive. It's obviously got
like a
lot more.
He's just constantly sniffing the air around him. Yeah.
And honestly, Robert Patrick's pointy little ears are so fucking cute. They're adorable.
This is the cat girl.
The
cat girl T-1000 arc.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. Oh yeah, I saw a fucking T-shirt that was like the T-Terminator, and it was Arnold Schwarzenegger with, like, a cup of tea, and I was like, the T-800 was right there, you idiot. I got so angry. But yeah, I love that because like you've got the T800, you got Arnie completely not making any facial expressions at all, and then you've got the T1000 who's obviously on better software, has a better psychological profile of humans and interactions, who is moving a little bit, but is still a little bit suspicious. And did you know? Okay, I'll stop gushing about this movie in a moment. You know the scene where they leave the mall, the T800 gets shot and pushed through the clothing store window, and then the T1000 runs after John, and he gets onto his little dirt bike. Robert Patrick was a track star in high school.
Right.
So he kept fucking catching him. they were like, you are too fast.
So the directorial note was slow down.
Slow the fuck down, Robert. You are too quick.
It's like, Robert might actually be a Terminator.
Literally, he trained himself not to emote or breathe out of his mouth while he was sprinting. And that was all him. And he was like sprinting it, like, because first take, he sprinted at it and he caught it straight away. And they were like, well, you just fucking killed everyone. Thanks.
I wonder if that took a while to train out, like after they finished making the movie, like Tim McInnery when he was playing Darling in Blackadder, and he apparently got a twitch for quite a while afterwards anytime someone used the term Darling, because he has a twitch in the show when anyone says his name.
Come on, Darling.
Yeah, I think it probably did, honestly, because like, oh my god, like that man's running was. How do you make running scary?
Yeah,
like that.
Be Tom Cruise.
Okay, that's for a different reason.
Yeah, that's because
that's not a character being scary.
He's coming after you to tell you all about Scientology.
That is actually Tom Cruise being scary, isn't it? Right?
I want to tell you about Xenu, kids. Slow down, kids. Slow down. I don't want to be falling out.
Come join the Tom Cruise harem.
That's literally how he talks. He says he's from like LA, but that's just how he talks. Oh,
I'm Tom Cruise.
Oh God!
I'm TP for my bungle.
Just carrying on like that.
Come see my new Mission Impossible film.
Oh God, that's actually on the fucking press junket. He's just doing that.
He just opens his mouth and that noise comes out. It's really weird.
Yeah, he doesn't even like talk or anything. No. It's like he's swallowed a speaker.
Then if you go really close, you feel, is that noise coming from your eyes? What the fuck?
See the USB logo.
It sounds like the wind whistling through coastal caves, Tom. What's going on there?
I am liking eldritch horror Tom Cruise that's been developed.
I like that idea, actually. As a horror film concept, I think that could work rather well.
It's going to be like being John Malkovich, but it's being scared of Tom Cruise.
Don't leave open your car.
I feel like Tom Cruise is the one person who could like enter into a room, enter into a small door, and enter into a world where everyone is Tom Cruise, and he'd be like, "This is actually great."
Yeah.
He'd be like, "This is amazing."
Feeling from him, don't you?
Finally, Tom Cruise is home. I have found my people, and it's all me.
Hello, have you met my wife, Tom Cruise? Hi, I'm Tom Cruise, Tom Cruise's wife. Have you met our children, Tom Cruise, Tom Cruise, Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise, and Tom Jr.?
It's like that one fucking episode of Red Dwarf where Rimmer makes a bunch of clones of himself.
Yeah.
I have not seen enough Red
similar
Dwarf.
Outcome as well, sort of mutually assured self-destruction.
Should we talk about some Warhammer? Because we've been here.
Warhammer?
What the fuck's Warhammer?
What's that movie?
Yeah, right. What's that?
Well, that's the one that might happen with Amazon, possibly, maybe, kind of.
Maybe.
Well, we've got the little the short compilation that's getting that in it now, just from the people who did Love, Death, Robots. If I remember.
We also have one of those from about Terminator. So
there is a Netflix thing about Terminator. Yeah,
there is.
Terminator Zero. Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing the Space Marine thing, but on the other hand, there's a Mega Man cartoon in there, and I am fucking hyped.
I can't believe Mega Man is like in canon with 40k. That's crazy.
Yeah, Mega Man God of War. What?
Yeah, he's one of the Lost Primarchs.
Makes sense to me.
Being too short.
But yeah, it does have to be Captain N Mega Man that's the Primarch.
Oh no, with that
the weird little gremlin one.
Yeah, absolutely. Played by Tom Cruise,
Yeah, it's played by Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. No! Although I would pay decent money to watch Henry Cavill beat up Tom Cruise.
Henry Cavill's going to play Dr. Willy.
I'm pretty sure that's the plot of one of the Mission Impossible movies. So, Snipe, I think
Henry
you might be in luck
Cavill?
there. Yeah, Henry Cavill's in one of the Mission Impossible movies.
Henry Cavill.
I don't know, because that's the one where he had to grow a mustache, and then he was contractually obligated to keep it for the reshoot of Justice League.
That's right. So, Mission Impossible Fallout
he's gorgeous.
is now.
Who lets this man exist? Oh, is that
Have you never seen him with a mustache before?
Oh, I can't see him without it now.
Right.
Well, if you want to see him without it, watch the reshoots from Justice League. It's weird.
As a Batman fan and a Superman fan and a fan of movies, no.
If you really want, you can spend like 4 fucking hours watching the Snyder Cut.
No.
I'm okay. Thank you.
It's in 4:3 for some reason.
What irritates the living shit out of me about Zack Snyder and the Zack Snyder DCU, and I might get some
Is
Snyder.
everything about his filmmaking, writing, directorial style, and ethos.
Oh no, because you go in knowing that you're about to stick your foot into a big box labeled shit. Right? You know that.
Yeah.
You're about to watch a Zack Snyder film. The man has made one good film, and I'm sure it was on accident. And that was Dawn of the Dead. And I don't think he set out to make a good film, but he did. And that good film has some really bad bits in it. It's like Paul W.S. Anderson. He made Paul W.S. Anderson accidentally made Event Horizon, and it was good. And every other film that man has made has been absolute knackers. And I include the frankly so bad, it's incredible Three Musketeers film that he did. It's shit. It's amazing.
I forgot that was him.
It is up there with Street Fighter as being so shit. It's brilliant.
Okay. I will fist fight you over this because Street Fighter is not even so bad it's good. It is a cinematic masterpiece. The man who played Zangief is a gift. Raul Julia is fucking amazing.
We had, many years ago, a bad movie podcast called Quick Change the Channel, named after Zangief.
Change the channel.
We can change the channel.
That man also played Max Shrek's son in Batman Returns. He also played Butterfinger in Hudson Hawk, which is a fantastic fucking movie.
He was just a professional big guy.
He was just a professional big guy.
And he was Lobo.
That makes so much sense.
There is a Lobo film out there that was never meant to be released, and it's the Lobo Paramilitary Christmas Special.
Oh, is it kind of like that Fantastic Four movie where they just had to make it to keep copyright? Oh, I feel really bad for the actors in those.
But even though
what's about Fantastic Four one is it's the best Fantastic Four movie and it's not even close.
By a mile, yeah.
Well, Pedro Pascal's in the new one. I have high hopes. I don't. I just want to see Pedro Pascal get a good paycheck.
The batting average Fantastic Four movies is one that's quite funny because it's a bit shit, but kind of earnestly cheaply made, and then 3 completely unwatchable movies.
Yeah. Like,
and now that you've got
as movies that bad.
Why they didn't have Mads Mikkelsen as Dr. Doom, I don't understand.
Because they were in talks with it, and then they will. Robert Downey Jr. was him instead, right?
If anybody. And this is right. We'll get back to Warhammer in a minute. I'm hopped up now because we're talking about Doctor Doom.
You mentioned Mads, and I love Mads. I would stalk that man.
He'd probably be grateful of it. He'd probably be like, "Yes, I'm very suave. Would you like some champagne?"
Cool yeah, he'd be cool with it.
He'd be a cool guy.
Like, after watching Hannibal, I just yes, please.
See, I was like that with the Stag Demon, actually. I preferred that one. I mean, Mads is nice, but I was like, "Oh,
you like Wendigo, yes.
Body paint, sir."
The first place my mind went to was that freaking movie about the group of guys backpacking through Norway, and they get stalked by one of the Loki's children.
The Ritual, yeah.
Yeah, The Ritual. Yeah. When you said the Stag Demon, I was just
it's how it's Hannibal lore, but it's how Will Graham sees Hannibal. It's the Wendigo.
He's like, Hannibal, you'd be way hotter if you had horns. Yep. Well, it's antlers, but you know what I mean.
Considering that is kind of what it's about.
He's like, I'm going to cover you in fucking molasses and make you wear a fake rack and watch out, sailor.
And we're going to be murder boyfriends, and that's what it's about. It's great.
Murder boyfriends.
Yeah.
Murder Boyfriends is the best name for an emo band I've ever heard.
That would be pretty solid, actually.
Quite frankly, that is what the show could be called, because that's kind of the running plot. It's so cool and very hot.
I only watched the first season, and I didn't know there was another season, and I just haven't watched it since.
Yeah, two more seasons, and they're very good.
Because Lawrence Fishburne was in it, and I love him. He's amazing. He's so good.
Jack Crawford, fantastic.
So a man who was cut out of Event Horizon for 18 minutes of just pure sex.
Just pure pure smashing.
Just going through every single member of the crew, just not even the cast, the crew. Yeah,
and then after every post-coitus, after every sexual encounter, he eats a chow mein pot noodle that he visibly doesn't like. He doesn't. He literally mentions at the beginning, "I don't like chow mein flavored pot noodles," and then he just eats one after every sexual encounter, and I'm like, "Thank you, Transylvanian tin mine. Now I know what that's like."
You see, this is the thing. It's about making art that challenges the audience, and I think
no one likes pot noodles.
People were not ready for the Transylvanian tin mine cut of Event Horizon. But I long to, although we will never get it, I long to live in a world that is ready for that.
Yeah,
we can work our way towards it.
Yeah,
but I don't think we'll see it in our generation.
Not in our lifetime. No,
and that's okay.
To get back to the topic at hand,
so
Dr. Doom, right? So Dr. Doom has to invite people to his castle to give them food, and he has to do so in a manner to prove that he is the best cook and he is a perfect host. That is Dr. Doom. I don't see Robert Downey Jr. being able to pull shit like that. It'll be more shit Doom.
He's going to have some really Joss Whedon lines, and it's just going to be a bit not fun.
He's going to be
I feel.
He's going to be a bit sarcastic and not.
Yeah, he's going to be a cheeky boy.
There's a very particular tone you really need to strike with Doom, and he's a
gentleman who loves his little country.
Yeah, he's
will do villainous things to protect it.
He's utterly unhinged, but he has a moral code that Well, he's got a very alien moral code. Don't get me wrong.
He
has manners.
He's an old Bond villain, which is why Mads Mikkelsen is the perfect pick.
I was just about to make that connection. He is like an old Bond villain. You're right.
He is, which is why Mads Mikkelsen, it's just such a better choice for him, because he has that crooning kind of purr to his voice. That is always.
He's also European in that way that a lot of people go, I'm not entirely sure where you're from, but I
really like
which is a good choice for a Latvian accent.
Yes, absolutely. But then it'll be funny. Then you have like in Batman Returns, where you have the actor who played Zangief playing Max Shreck's son, trying to do that accent and probably not pulling it off very well.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know whether I want more, whether I want Robert Downey Jr.
Dr. Doom.
There's only one future. To be fair, we survive.
Put down the daydream, Doom. No.
Christopher Walken plays the Emperor in Dune.
Yes.
And that was
it is a little distracting.
No, it's not. Christopher Walken is America's greatest natural resource, and I will not hear a word said against that man.
Have you guys seen Severance?
No.
So it's a show where when you go to work, there's a chip in your brain that switches you from your outside personality to your inside personality. So the person outside of work has no idea what happens in work, and the person in work has no idea what happens outside of work. Right?
Okay.
Dystopian sci-fi, I like it.
Yep, it's really, really good. There's one season out, second season's on its way. It is Apple TV, I think it is freaking brilliant. Christopher Walken turns up as an elderly gay man who's just wandering around with paintings. And he's just...
I love it. I am there. I am watching it right now.
I've stopped caring about the rest of the film. I just want to... I want just the camera to follow Christopher Walken with these paintings, which are about the genocidal bloodbath of 1984, where apparently the workers rose up against their managers. And it's... What the fuck is this?
It sounds life-changing. And I love it.
It does. Primarily because of the presence of Walken.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Seeing him interact with... Oh, yeah, I guess Warhammer, fucking Blood for the Blood God. Whatever.
Walkenhammer.
Horus, you better not be planning a heresy. No. That's the only Christopher Walken thing I could do is say no.
I had to put this entire heresy up my ass.
No.
This fucking guy. He's
fucking believable.
Vulcan as Malkador or as Trazin the Infinite. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Vulcan as Trazin.
You see, like in my head, when it comes to Malkador, he is just Ian McDermott, who plays Palpatine, mostly because I listened to like one audio book once where he pronounced his own name as Malkador, the Sigilite. So in my head, he's always been Palpatine ever since then.
Somehow, Malkador the Sigilite has returned.
That would be the least surprising thing.
I know. That's why Oscar Isaac's face doing that is so perfect.
Yeah, he is a perpetual, so yeah, that does happen. He just turns back up.
Christopher Walken for the Emperor of Dune and the Imperium.
No, wow. I am in now for Christopher Walken as Trazin and John Turturro as Orican.
I was going to say John.
That's what I want to see.
I was going to say him for Fulgrim.
It's got to be a love story, just like the Infinite and Divine is. They are
absolutely
who get back together at the end. God damn it!
I keep meaning to read that. Everyone always says it's really fun.
Yeah,
I just never got around to reading it.
I just can't believe what the writer has done. They've taken like one of the most morbid, macabre armies in 40k, one of the most thanatic armies in 40k, and made like a buddy comedy out of it. It is hilarious.
They made a one camera setup sitcom, is what they made. And I think for years I was always reading it in the book as Ian McKellen and
Patrick Stewart.
Derek Jacobi.
Derek Jacobi.
Yeah, Jacobi, yeah.
Because it's the only way I could see them. It's ridiculous.
I do. One of the things I have quite liked about the expansion of 40k and just Warhammer in general is how they've become way more open to more allowing stories to just exist in different genres. Like they've become way more comfortable. Like, obviously, there's the obvious things because they've done Warhammer Horror and the Warhammer Crime stuff.
Yeah.
But also, there are ones that are, more like a little bit more comfortable with comedy stuff, like, they've done the Red Gobbo, like, novellas and stuff,
I honestly, I said this on a podcast a while ago, and I can't remember which one it was, but I was saying that I want not just in universe in 40k, I want in real life Space Marine bodice rippers. That's what I want.
And boom.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, that's what I want. I want like, I'm reading a book about Space Marines like rescuing some fair maiden, and then they bang a lot. I don't know. Like, I'd love that to come up in a Black Library novel.
You see a lot of people do like when they do fan art, and they
do that too.
Well, yeah, when they show like fan art of like kids and stuff in the Imperium, and you see them with like little cuddly toys or just little action figures of Marines and stuff. And I don't know why things like that.
Boys,
like they always make the world feel real because you think about the toys that kids do actually have. It's like there's a bit in I don't know if anyone here watches the Bad Batch Star Wars series.
I need to.
I've never seen them, I've read.
Oh, they're really quite good. They're sort of good, better if you watch the Clone Wars, because they're sort of a continuation of it. But there's a bit where a kid like gets a little toy of a clone trooper, and it's little things like where you go, well, yeah, I suppose these are the heroes of that world. That's what the populace is being demonstrated. So them having kids having toys of them makes 100% sense.
Yeah,
it just makes the world feel kind of
piece of propaganda. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. I think that plays really well into it, especially because the Imperial propaganda machine is immense and vast and covers every speck of the universe. Basically, it's like that would be really cool to have like just fantasy books about like. Again, just kind of feeding into the propaganda machine of this kind of stuff, and also, like posters of their favorite Astarte chapter or something like that in their bedrooms, and it's like, that's just kind of again, it makes it feel real.
Because they're kind of rare, everything about them would always be a little bit wrong.
Yeah,
there'd be the equivalent of like Tom Clancy novels that you buy at an airport. but there'll be about like Space Marine chapters where everything written about it is subtly wrong in ways you'd only know if you were a Space Marine.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sure in one of the Warhammer Adventures books, there's one of the kids in that has a Space Marine toy, like an action figure.
That wouldn't surprise. I never did get around to reading them because I was curious to read them because, like, you know, people were being so
Very
normal
normal.
about them.
Oh my God, weren't they being so
Pretending that Warhammer has never done anything aimed at kids before, ever. Even
they're about the same level as the old Hero Quest novels. Yeah, that's the age they're going for. So they don't shy away from anything. It's they're actually quite good. I enjoy them.
Yeah, I generally heard from people who actually read them that they were pretty good. They were exactly what they said on the tin, and you got what you wanted. And it turns out that the whole of 40k lore did not collapse because of them.
Because there was a thing aimed at kids. We still have Warhammer somehow. It's so crazy.
It turns out it was actually
we have Fluffenhammer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Great! They've gone Vulcan.
The Vulcan dead.
This is getting confusing now.
But it's
fiction has diversified massively, and not just in terms of the demographics that it approaches, but in terms of its subject. I mean, I read the latest Adaman novel by John French recently. And he has completely foregone, you know, the more formulaic kind of bolter porn stuff that a lot of the books have. It's just weird. It just goes Zeech and bizarre, like Lovecraftian weird. It's brilliant.
I was going to ask if it's kind of like a more of a horror kind of spin.
Oh yeah, it's like existential horror. It's about like fractured realities and all sort of, you know, fractal possibilities, and it's so cool. I love those books.
Well, that's the thing. There's the universe is so vast, and because the very nature of it, that you've got all these factions, and they've all got their own themes, both borrowed from other things, and you know, invented for the game. And you've got so many authors who've put so many spins on them. There's so many ways to take so many things, and to just do bolter porn, as it were, is sort of like. And it's not to say I haven't enjoyed plenty of bolter porn books.
There are places for it.
But like, there's been only been more room to do more with the setting, and I think that's part of the reason why you get so many people getting so, let's just say, weird about it. Because it's like,
weird is a very good term for it, because it's weird and obsessively weird as
because
well.
Like they want, because I think on some level, like there's not to get into it, but there's obviously like there's reactionary forces there that are using this as a way to push a cultural agenda. We put those to one side for a second, and we deal with the people that are earnestly doing this, like good faith stuff. And I think there's some parts of it that is because, you know, Warhammer, I think people are having to come to terms with the fact that it is now mainstream.
Yes.
It is popular enough that, I mean, like, it's funny when I hear Americans talking about like Warhammer becoming like more popular, and I'm like, well, I'm from Britain, so everyone knows Warhammer all the time because there's been a shop on every on everyone's high street.
I think it's because I came to England when I was 11 years old, and everyone had a friend that gave them a miniature.
Yeah.
Literally everyone.
First one's free.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they do it in Warhammer shops now. And just the whole, it's our obscure hobby. Fuck off, tourists. And it's like,
there's definitely that.
Saying?
It's like, it used to be something fairly obscure and fairly narrow in what it was, whereas now, I think to be honest, the actual real catalyst for this was that they looked out and licensed out the franchise to some really ended up being really well done video games.
Well, I mean, the Dawn
that
of
really
War
popularized.
The Dawn of War is fantastic. Space Marine is absolutely incredible.
I think those really like pushed it out there. But then once it's become so big now that it is just a big media property that can exist in so many mediums and so many ways, and ultimately there's the very there is no one narrow view of it that is what Warhammer is anymore.
No,
you can consume the whole thing purely through video games, or you can be into it purely for the novels. You can if you're a real deviant, actually play the game.
Who's got the time?
You know, you can do all these things, or you can be like an absolute like hipster like me and engage with it mostly by buying models from 1987. You know, there's so many different ways to engage. So many different avenues, ways to engage, and it's at all levels, and no one is doing the fandom wrong because you can't do it wrong. It's a hobby. You can't do hobbies wrong. That's weird.
I mean,
you engage with them how you want, right? That's the purpose.
But I think because of how big it's gotten, there is that kind of pushback for when you remember that it was this smaller little thing that was yours. Like you played Warhammer and your friends played Warhammer, and it was this thing, and now you're sharing that space. Yeah, you're sharing that space with a lot of people, and I'm not sitting there saying that you should have like, you know, that we should listen to people when they say, oh well, back in my day there was no female custodians, in that tone of voice. Exactly.
That's really how they all talk.
And not to say that, you know, you should, you know, like hear them out necessarily, but there are people who are coming at it from, it is just, there has been a change, and change is hard for people to deal with sometimes. Like Warhammer is not what it was in good and bad ways, and it's never going to stay the same is the thing, because that's the nature of time.
And it's also just the nature of the hobby. I mean, that's the other thing. It's when people believe or remember that there was this sort of enshrined state of the hobby. It's a myth. It's a delusion. It's never been that way. It's always been shifting and changing from the first instance.
Hell, that you one of the things that because obviously I was born like the year before Rogue Trader come out, so I didn't play it at the time, obviously. But like,
yeah, you did. You're a true fan.
One of the things that I really noticed, like when starting to go through it, was like Rogue Trader isn't one game. There's iterations throughout it, and there's like distinct eras through it where it starts off as more of an RPG and slowly becomes a mass war game over time, and then second edition really codified that into this is what Warhammer 40,000 is. And it became, you know, and then it kept getting bigger and bigger, and occasionally they go, oh shit, it's got way too big, I should shrink this down a smidge.
It's an interesting thing, because I mean, due to my cousins, I got my first taste of Warhammer at the end of 3rd Ed Fantasy Battle, because I am fucking old. And then when 4th Ed Fantasy Battle came out, that was my edition. That was my big getting in. I've always had this theory that your time with Warhammer, that first run, is an edition and a half. It's the edition that you got in with, and then into the next edition, and then that's when you start, as a teenager, as a spotty little teenager, you start going, I don't like this because it's different. And then usually what that means is then you come back in about 2 editions later when you're a bit older. And it's this interesting little thing of, you've seen change. Why can't you accept that change has happened?
Well, we've got a friend who he used to work for GW, and he said like the way that the people in the store at the time thought about it was that you get into Warhammer when you're like in your early teens. You play it for a while, and then you stop when you discover like cars and girls and beer.
Yes,
and then you come back once you've kind of had your excess when you're in your early 20s, and then you might come back to it with a bit more money, and then you lock in. And that's sort of what they saw is like the pattern of it, and to be fair, that's probably not a million miles away from mine, except with much less excess. Because I was a very boring person and continue to be.
Oh shush, go play U-Trains.
It's funny. Oh man, model trains. Don't get me started.
Oh no, is that another tangent we might go
They're
down?
just not as good as they used to be.
Oh, they're incredible now.
I know, they're so
good,
cool.
but they're so expensive.
Yes. Right now, there are two things in front of me that I'm very much considering as a second thing to get into. One is Zoids, because Zoids are awesome. And
Get yourself some Wardick.
Indeed. I mean,
I'm listening. Can I come? Can I come too?
awfully bold of you to think that I don't already have some
lost
Wardick.
Primarch. Wardick.
Wardick's the name of a. I think it's based on a coelacanth. Zoid. I think it's the Japanese name for it.
It is.
They have. Was it breast formers or
breast force?
Breast force.
Yeah.
So you know what? Let's just not let the Japanese name things in English because they're a bit weird.
I don't know. Sky Gary's pretty good.
Sky Gary is amazing, actually.
Gary's good. Yeah.
I mean, super
Super
Lifeform Transformers, Beast Wars Neo, Warning Leo Convoy in Imminent Danger is the best name for an episode you'll ever come across.
Yeah, but then you get your KISS players.
Then you get KISS players, and
and then we don't talk about that. Don't Google it, anyone, because if you do, you'll probably be on a list somewhere.
You will be on a list somewhere.
Because I'll fucking put you on one.
That is one thing. That is one thing at TFN. Don't mention it. You'll be a pariah. That's one thing.
I'm just imagining, like, you know, when there's a shark swimming around a shoal of fish and there's like a huge orb of just nothing around because the fish are like, mate, you can fuck off. Basically, you're going to be like that if you mention KISS players. And rightly so.
So Zoids and I'm assuming model trains.
Yeah, Weird West, old Western modern train, like model trains.
Okay, I'm listening now.
Right? Because the idea of having a Weird West train set where you've got like Sasquatch and Wendigos and you know, people on like steampunk walkers and stuff, and then having like a really cool steampunky model train just running around the tracks. It's an idea that won't leave me alone.
There was a brief, I don't know if they still sell them, but Hornby did make a steampunk run of trains. Now, they were fucking terrible.
Yes.
Like, there's unambiguously absolutely awful. But you know, it is not a thing that is without precedent or merit.
I mean, I've got a 3D printer back here. You know, all I need is the electronics and the, you know, just need the electronics and the bases and the tracks and everything, and I'm good to go. And
what's really funny is what happens whenever Adam chooses to collect a new Warhammer army. It's normally an army that's out of print, like it hasn't been around for ages, like Chaos Dwarfs or something. And what tends to happen is he starts making models of it with his 3D printer, and then it gets resurrected in AOS.
Not just AOS. This goes right back. Right. The first time this happened was in the mid to late 90s, where I bought 3 copies of Space Crusade of different people, right? With the sole intention of having a Chaos Android army.
Honestly, I get it.
The day after, I have finished the Chaos. I'm talking the day after. I have finished my Chaos Dwarf army. Sorry, I'll come back to Chaos Dwarfs in a minute. My Chaos Android army. I have painted the last one, put him down, gone to bed, got up the next morning, gone to school. Oh, there's a new White Dwarf on. What is this on the front of White Dwarf? Right.
Well, now you've got a nice new Necron army. I don't see the issue.
Yeah.
At the time, it was like, oh, for fuck's sakes, but didn't think about it, right? It's happened a few times since then. Then, when I was building my Iron Jaws army, I came up with the idea of them being beast hunters, where they have like animals around the bases, and you know they're like throwing bats and big falcons, and you know, just completely thing. Then the fucking Cruel Boys drop.
Yeah.
Who are beast hunter orcs.
Yeah.
Right. Then I start making my Skaven army, because I had a massive Skaven army way back in the day. 4,800 points of Warhammer Fantasy Battle 4th and 5th Ed. Yeah.
Just a few rats?
A lot of rats.
1 or 2.
Yeah. Like, it was a big Skaven army. Got rid of it years ago because I'm an idiot. And and I start making the Skaven army, and I have done everything. I've bought old Skaven. I've got an old Thankwall. I've got an old Norddoom. I've, you know, old Ikrit Claw. and I finish it. I finish painting it. Then they start announcing all the stuff for new AOS.
Yeah,
it happens constantly, and it's the reason I refuse point blank to do a Chaos Dwarf army until everything else is finished.
I keep trying to get him to do an Emperor's Children army because that's the one I'm waiting for, you see.
Oh, yeah, and the last one that happened, right? I've been writing a skirmish book, right? I've been writing a fucking skirmish book. I've been on it for about 2 years. I've done a PDF version that's out in the world for people to download, and I'm currently rewriting it for a full hardback release. It was called The Hive Desolate. What's the last Necromunda release called?
Mate,
In the Desolate Hive.
I'm not saying that James Workshop himself has bugged your home, but he absolutely has, and has done that for years.
It's insane.
We do joke that someone at Games Workshop listens to the Fluffenhammer podcast, just listens to what we say and says, "Oh, we'll do that.
We can hear you. We know it's you, you sneaky GW employee." It's like when we made up the stupidest thing I could think of, which was Codex Zotes, and I did that amazing cover art for it. And then, like, a year later, they steal my idea, probably without even seeing the video. And I'm like, okay, so you've got your psychics on the case. Bravo. I can't afford psychics. Thing is,
the James Workshop thing.
Yeah.
You did that joke before Games Workshop started doing it, because it was in our video for Freeblade, and we named our Freeblade James Workshop. I've got a photoshopped version of the Games Workshop logo, but as James Workshop because of that. And then, like, a couple of years later, they started doing the James Workshop bit, who does a Codex Zotes bit occasionally. And again, and we're like, look, I know that these jokes, I know there's two ways of taking it, which is either our jokes aren't very original, which I think is completely
That is completely unrealistic. Let's be honest.
Or they are, or there's, like, you know, just they're coming up with the same type of stuff.
The thing is, it's the same kind. Like what is Codex Zotes is funny because it's so out there. Someone else in the office can easily come up with something like that. I'm not asking for a writing.
But Games Workshop do definitely owe us some money.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they owe Adam a lot.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, they owe Adam a lot.
So please stop. Please stop doing it.
Emperor's Children army. God damn it.
To be fair, I do have a similar thing with like things coming out and scuppering plans that I've just finished or am in the process of finishing.
You can just say the new codex. It's okay.
But that's mostly because of my proclivities of the things that armies that I end up making are like, oh, I'm going to make a Grot Rebellion army, or I'm going to make a Lamenter's army made entirely of models from 1987 to 1989, which leads me to situations like, oh, I'm going to finally get on and finish my Death Company because I've been putting them off for like a year. So I'm going to finally start getting them finished. And as I finally start making headway on them, the new codex starts having stuff announced about it, and it's like, oh yeah, by the way, Death Company is solely Primaris now.
They're out, yeah.
Oh, and you can only have. It's like, well, maybe it's okay. Maybe I can have all these weapons because I've got 5 power fists in this squad, and they're like, no, you can't do that.
I need more.
Tom Cruise. I'm still fucking sore because I had a little baby dreadnought army, a little precious baby one. I think it was like 2,000 points or something because I had an Imperial Knight in there.
I have no idea. You've got some stupid like 3,500 points of that dreadnought army.
Oh god, yeah. I just kept like when we had the people just kept sending me dreadnoughts, and I'm like, yes, thank you, more please. And now they're like, they've been like, oh, you can only have like a maximum of 3 units of one type. And I'm like, thank you for ruining my army, James Workshop. You horrible, horrible person that I'm very cross with.
I'm just going to put some things up to the camera here. Dreadnought.
Hey, nice.
The old Chaos Dreadnought.
The baby.
Dreadnought.
Oh, we're getting classic.
Hang on. Hang on. I'm going to really upset you now because...
Oh, no.
It pulls out.
You do have a lot of old miniatures.
I just dropped him. Oh no, he's all right.
It's not broken until you notice it, so just don't pay attention.
Yeah, don't look.
Yeah, if we'll sort out after at some point, but if you want one of those dreadnoughts, I have a spare.
Yeah, I might have to talk to
Rad.
you about that. That's absolutely beautiful. Oh my god.
Yeah, I really looked out because I managed to get a couple of Rogue Trader Dreads.
Before you accidentally inflated the price by doing videos about them, jerk, ruining it for everyone else.
There's a non-zero chance that there is maybe an effect I might have had. I don't think there is, but there's a non-zero chance. But I got a couple of them like quite cheap. I think the most I paid for one was about £15.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, because nowadays, I think the cheapest I've seen one for a long time is about 35. But I managed to get a couple of those, and so I've looked at, and I did get one of the resin like scaled to be a Contemptor versions that Troll Soup made, that's styled like that. So I've got one of those as a Contemptor, which is quite fun.
Nice.
But yeah, so some of these things, getting hold of them now has got really, really silly over the last few years. The price
is so crazy. It's like they're not making them anymore or something.
No, old hammers just got so much more expensive. Like even
I think it's just people realized what they had.
Yeah, there is a bit of that.
Which is okay, fine, but also
there's so many things where it's just you do just look at them and you're like it's just chancer money. Like there's some stuff that it kind of makes sense, like a good condition Rogue Trader era Land Raider is worth quite a bit, partially because it's so rare to find one that is in one piece, because it has so many inherent design flaws that cause things to snap. The las cannons for the main part, the heavy bolter turret like mount, the little aerial, like these things break off so easily. You have to be so careful with them. And so I'm not surprised that there's not many complete ones. Like I looked out because I had someone message me and go, "Hey, do you want this? It's in pieces still." So I got to assemble it as well.
Oh man, brilliant!
So I'm super, super lucky on that front. And I even got sent a resin recast of one, which meant that I didn't feel guilty about turning it into a Spartan. And but the prices of these things have got so ridiculous. Like even just like when I first started buying old Space Marines, you could get like just some random like Brother Froth or one like that. Yeah. It's just like a guy with a bolter. You could get those for like a few quid. Like you're probably going to pay like just over $5 once you factor in postage, but you know, there's at least one where I think I placed a bid on one in like a video as a bit, and I actually won it because no one put another bid on it for the next 5 days. And I was like, oh well, I guess I've got this one now. I can't remember which one that was, but like you could, you know, things like that was doable. It was all relatively reasonable. There was some like if you wanted an original Red Gobbo or like a Mark 1 Jez Goodman Terminator, like those were really expensive, but you know, you could, though it was mostly sensible. Like a Grot Cutter, you could buy one of those for like 15-20 quid. Yeah, no worries. Now it's just got so ridiculous, and I know that on some level there has definitely been, as mentioned earlier, like a bigger appreciation for old hammer, and that's definitely affected it. And I would, you know, I've got to hold my hand up as having some culpability in that kind of world. But like it has got a little frustrating because I'm trying. I've basically got my Lamenter's army to a point where I'm like happy that if I don't get any more models, like I've got like an end goal. I'm like, I think I've got 11 models left to paint, and then I'll have my quote unquote complete army, as complete as any Warhammer army is. But like in the future, there are things I'd like to add to it, but like I'm in no rush, and that can be once I've done some other projects, so I don't get totally sick of painting yellow all the time. Yeah,
it's funny. And when I came back into Warhammer in like 2016, 2017, one of the first things I thought to myself was, I want to start getting the old Night Goblins from Fourth Ed Fancy Battle.
Yeah,
because I loved them when I was a kid, just loved them. But I never managed to get a big collection of the metal ones. So I started buying them. And over the years, I've watched as the price per miniature has risen.
Yeah.
Like I've got like Blood Bowls and special characters from that era, which were like $2.99, $1.99. Now a single night goblin that just a single night goblin by himself can go as far as 7, 8, 9, 10 quid. And it's just not doable. You can't.
Yeah, when you're talking about things that you are having to field massed, like in massed squads, it gets completely untenable. Like I recently started putting together more for show than actual gaming, a little force of Rogue Trader era orcs, and it's mostly made from just what I've had lying around, either from like random things that we got sent into the PO box, or just where I've bought like job lots of things and got bits of orcs, and and I've like put just put I've got like a bunch of it together, and it's like okay. But I was like looking at if I wanted to actually turn this into a real like modern day army, because I'd like to though I have never actually sat down and played a game of 10th edition, because for whatever reason I've just not found the time.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
But I do, whenever I'm building something, I do build it with the idea of running it in the modern day with modern rules, because I know that I am not going to find too many people who, when I say, oh, hey, do you want to play a game of 3rd edition? They're just going to tell me to piss off. Fair. But
I will play 2nd and Rogue Trader with anyone at any time at a drop of a hat. Yeah. I will leave my child at school and forget about him.
If you're doing either of them, you need day 3, right?
Absolutely.
But like but like I was thinking about how turning this into like a full army. I'm like, if I want to buy like this many orcs, like of this era, like they're not being sold like they were originally sold, like in packs of small amounts of them, or in like a big box with like 20 of the buggers in or whatever. It's like, no, these are being sold individually for like a $5 each. And you go, as expensive as modern Warhammer is, like when you're talking about running armies where because if you want to do it authentically, you're probably not going to be running too many vehicles, because there weren't too many vehicles. You're probably going to go foot slogging, so you're going to have massed infantry, and like you're talking about like you are talking like dropping £200 for a squad of orcs, and like
to make that functionable in the present game, the sort of the orc mob army. You're talking units of like 20 miniatures.
Yeah.
It's untenable. I mean, unless you have a lot of money and a lot of time, it's untenable.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I am also the person that one of my long-term goals is to make sure that I have the full, like old school 6 squads of tactical marines for my lamenters, all Rogue Trader era miniatures, because I think there's something deeply funny about going up to a game and dropping down a foot slogging army of old miniatures, but also lamenters, because it shows your opponent that you are a thoroughly unsettled mind and you should not be trifled with.
Anyone who paints that much yellow is just a warning sign. They are going to harm you in every way.
And it's the lamenters as well. There's a masochistic element to that.
And I'm up to. And the thing is, it might seem like a pipe dream, but I am up to 40. So I've not got that much further to go in the grand scheme of things.
Why don't you just do what I'm planning on doing and buying the Combat Patrol box?
Because they haven't made these miniatures since the early 90s.
I know that. I just know it annoys you when people say stuff like that. Because I've been there when we've been like, I don't know, at a restaurant, and you're like on your phone on eBay going, fucking come on, 2 minutes left, and I've been like, you better fucking bid an extra $5, we need that shit.
Still just waiting for there to be a dedicated box set of Noise Marines for the first time ever. Ever. There's never been one.
It is wild, the things. I mean, didn't they do a box set that was like just the 3rd Ed Chaos sprue with the Emperor's Children like metal bits thrown in?
They did an Emperor's Children box set. When the 3.5 Codex came out in the early 2000s, they did an Emperor's Children box set, which was just the basic Chaos Space Marine sprue from the era with metal add-ons that could turn them into kind of Emperor's Children, but there were only enough to make 2 and a champ. The others you just painted up in Emperor's Children colours, and that was it. So it doesn't count. And before that, I mean, since then there's been nothing. By the way, absolutely nothing. Unless
it's been bugger all,
just nothing. Unless you count the cacophony from Horus Heresy, which are very nice. They're very nice. Before that, there were 3 noise maroons, 3 metal noise maroons, and that was kind of it. That's all we've ever had.
Why would you ever want to collect one of the dopest fucking themed miniature ever? Like, you can paint them really ugly colors, and then you go, they play guitar and accordion really badly, so you'll bleed.
That's how they kill you. It's great fun.
It's fantastic.
Tenor says there'll be a new Doom Rider before there's a new Noise Marines box set.
Oh my god!
Which I'll be happy about.
Legit, I unironically adore Doom Rider. Same. He's exactly the kind of stupid that 40k needs.
Yep.
And he was so stupid in 3rd Ed, wasn't he? I mean,
perfectly stupid.
It was all hell.
As long as if they bring him back,
backflips.
My two things is if they bring him back, there's 2 things. One, they need to keep the he comes, he goes rule. Yeah. I don't care that it's not competitive. I actually actively want it to be an uncompetitive thing to run.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And 2, maybe pass it over to the AOS team to design, because they're really good at designing big centerpiece models, and I want to see him look like he's the cover of Bat Out of Hell, like riding like a pillar of flame, like out of I don't know, like a hole in the ground or something.
They're also very good at doing Slanesh. I mean, the Hedonites army is just every miniature's sublime. I mean, every single one is so perfectly Slanesh. It's beautiful, that range.
I mean,
we also need to.
Sorry.
I was just going to say, we also need to make sure that whoever was in charge of de-nipplifying the new Blood Angels stuff needs to be kept away from any Slanesh release.
Yes, please don't do that again. That was very upsetting.
We do not shave off nipples in this house.
Not in the Hedonites, we don't. No, we need our nipples in the Hedonites.
I don't know. I can imagine some Hedonites just shaving nipples off.
Yes, I'm sure some of them would really enjoy it. But
where else are you going to hang your guns? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, or your,
Prince Albert.
Whatever the hell they have.
I was going to say, outside of the Krill Boys, I don't think there's much in the way of AOS that is a bad sculpt. They have a tendency of hitting the anvil as hard as they can on a fairly regular basis.
That is the one thing I always wish I was more into fantasy in general. Like not just Warhammer fantasy. I'm always more of a sci-fi guy, which is why I've always gravitated more towards 40k than any other like Warhammer iteration. But like in terms of like sculpt and just how rad the models are, like AOS stuff, there's so many of them where you just like, well, that's just incredible. Like you came out with a whole faction that's just wet elves, and they've got like they ride like moray eels, and they've got like a stabby octopus. That's just amazing.
Oh, I miss stabby untrustworthy octopus. He was so cool.
And you've got the whole. I love like the night haunt, like just how they look on the tabletop. They're just really fun. Like. There's so many just absolutely gorgeous models in that range. And I understand why there's some people who feel a little put upon as 40k players when you get the 19th like new lieutenant model. That's just another Space Marine, and like it's usually well done. Like no slight, because the actual sculptors are ludicrously talented.
Oh yeah,
but like they are just it sometimes it feels like 40k plays it a little safer.
It does feel that way, doesn't it?
It could do with letting loose a bit.
Yeah.
And then
some old artwork, maybe like the old Mark Gibbons stuff and whatnot, and just going nuts with it, just letting it fly.
Yeah, because when they do kind of go out there a bit, you end up with some of the best stuff. Like I love the Necromunda Gene Stealers that look wrong.
Oh, they're great, aren't they?
Those look incredible. Honestly, Necromunda is another like thing where like Necromunda doesn't tend to get bad models. Like
no,
they're always like real like top shelf stuff. But But yeah, I don't know. I think there is definitely a bit of a playing it safe, especially with Marines. Like,
Marines definitely. They are very kind of conservative with the Marines for the most part. There's a couple of exceptions, but for the most part, they're very controlled with the Marines. They have a very particular aesthetic, don't they?
Well, it's like they literally remade a couple of them just Primaris scale with the new Blood Angel stuff. They are just, hey, you want a Sanguinor, but slightly bigger.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It's exactly the same.
And it's like, well, and like on some level, there is a continuity there that's kind of cool. Like, but also, I never liked how the Sanguinor looked, and I especially don't like it now. So it's like
it's just the same but bigger.
Which, as someone who, for some reason, has two different armies, neither of which are painted red, but are both Blood Angels armies.
Both Blood Angels,
I feel like I should like the Sanguinor more than I do, but I think it is mostly down to I just don't like the model and that pose, and so the fact they remade it, and I'm just like, oh, well, okay. You kept the one thing I really didn't like about it. Cool.
That one thing being the miniature.
Yes. Yeah, basically.
It's great and I love it, but just throw the whole thing away and do it differently.
It's fine. I'll make one out of an RTB01. It'll be great.
Oh, yeah. That'll be ace, actually.
To be fair, that is actually the one change to the new Blood Angel stuff that on paper is probably actually a good thing, which is that now Sanguinary Guard have smaller squads. So, there's like 3 or 6, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That makes more sense.
Which means that whenever I get the small demon in my brain wins, and I decide to make some rogue trader look-alike Sanguinary Guard, I will only have to make 3 of them rather than 5 of them. Which
the next codex will come out and be like, you need to have 10, otherwise we'll come to your house and kick you in the balls. Special rule.
That's pretty much what happens every time a new Orc Codex comes out with my Grot Rebellion. So.
Yes.
Oh, you've got 120 Grots. You can only field 60 of them now.
Idiot.
And you need to have 6 Runt Herds. How many Runt Herds do I have? 3. Okay.
Well,
which have to be custom built because it's a Grot Rebellion army, so I can't have Orcs doing it. I've got to custom build ones made out of several Grots, so they take ages to make and paint.
I was going to say, you just get 3 Grots, put them shoulders, sculpt a coat over the top of them, one big stick,
That is effectively what I'm doing. But obviously, it takes a little longer than just taking the Runt Herd out of the box.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Although I will say, making a Grot Rebellion army has meant that I have a whole tub full of Runt Herd bodies because I just have never used them. So it's just full of that one Orc sculpt, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to do with these. I could literally make a full squad out of them, but
do you have tanks?
What in the Grot Rebellion?
Yes.
Yes, I've got 2 Grot Mega Tanks, one official one and one 3D printed one.
Are they based?
No. I mean, they have some pretty good opinions, but I mean...
No, I utterly refuse to bow to modernity and base my vehicles. I will stick with the old ways. Thank you very much.
In that case, then, I would make scenery with tire tracks going through them and just the bodies in the mud.
Well, that's good.
Fair. Yeah,
good nice idea, actually. Crushed heads and whatnot, Yeah.
Just like an arm sticking out at a horrible angle. Oh, man. Right, it's probably about time to start closing things down because it's...
we did talk about Warhammer for a good 15 minutes there.
Is this what you wanted, audience?
It's what you fucking got.
Now?
I would absolutely cry with laughter if everyone was like, what the fuck? Don't talk about Warhammer. Go back to Terminator 2. God, what now?
That would make me very
so
happy.
funny.
And this being the Fluffenhammer, that might happen, actually.
Yeah. One of the funniest things that's ever happened doing this show over the last 7 years? Question mark.
Wild, yeah.
Jesus.
We started just after the Gene Stealer cults and Thousand Sons were reintroduced to 40k.
So at least 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's a while back.
It's funny, actually.
And ever since then, we've been saying, there's rumors that the Emperor's Children are coming out.
We know a Fulgrim has been made. We know.
We do. We have it on good
Hurts
authority.
my brain.
There's been a Fulgrim made for a long time, and Noise Marines apparently as well. But God knows what's happened to it.
See, what Adam
This
needs
is
to
like
do
the
is start
Familiar
painting
all
some
over
new
again.
Noise Marines.
Exactly.
So just yeah, please.
I'll start working on some Noise Marines.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, that's what you need to do. You do that, and then they'll come out. It's just the natural order of things.
No. What
you have control of the situation. You are the master of all of our destinies.
Will happen? The moment he starts painting Noise Marines, Chaos Dwarfs will be re-released.
I'll scream. I'll fucking scream. That's what'll happen. Because I know they're coming. I know from the last AOS book, the fucking Chaos Dwarfs are all over that book in the background.
It tells you it's going to happen. There's like a page with all the Chaos Gods on it, which now includes the Great Horned Rats, obviously. And it says at the bottom something like Hashut stirs in the darkness or something. And it's like, yeah, all right.
That's very how they dropped a few hints about squats, like an edition before Votan came out.
Yeah, it infuriates me. I'm convinced that Chaos Dwarfs will be the year 2 army that they drop.
If it's not this edition, it'll be like early next edition, right?
Just give me my big hats. Give me my big fucking hats. That's all I want out of life. I just want big fucking hats. I've got old big hats. I'm scared to paint them because if I start painting them, then it's going to be real, and then they're going to turn up, and I'm going to scream. I'm going to cry and scream like a hungry, angry baby.
But yeah, I mean, they're going to AOS them, aren't they? They're going to do something really bizarre with them and make them like maybe a bit different from the big hatted Chaos Dwarfs.
Hats will be slightly bigger.
They need to be.
Maybe really big hats.
Like truly impractically large hats. They technically count as a siege engine.
See, I'm just thinking of them looking like, is it Torvald from the Bucket Brigade? I can't remember.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yes.
Yeah, I'm just imagining that, like the Necromancer, who is fucking awesome. I love that comic so much.
It is very, very good.
It's so good.
It's funny actually because I thought, right, I need a new project earlier on this year because I needed something to keep my brain occupied. And I thought, right, I know what I'll do. I'll do a Chaos Cult army, a Gene Stealer Cult army, but I'm going to do it different. I'm going to make it Titan based. So I bought myself a Titan, started doing my Gene Stealer cults and everything. And I was about halfway through the 50 hours it took me to paint and build and get it all sorted and customized and everything. And I just had this back of my head. You know they're just going to release a Gene Stealer Cult Titan now, don't you?
It's coming.
Fuck off, brain. Don't you do this to me. It's going to happen now.
You see, this is why if you're going to do like a sort of obscure sort of army, you have to pick one that Games Workshop consistently screw you over by doing. Which is why I have my Grot Rebellion army, where they keep making Grots worse to run like that, so that I basically just have like I'm going to lose every single game I play with them just by default. Or to put it another way, make an army entirely of warp spiders.
Oh,
I'm listening.
Yes.
I've got a plan, and it's the stupidest idea for an army that I think I've ever come across, but I still want to do it. And it is using nothing but the spindle drones from Blackstone Fortress.
Yes, you've been wanting to do that for a while, haven't you?
Do you know how many spindle drones you'd need for a 2,000-point army?
About 700.
Yeah, 800.
Nice.
I was close.
Yeah, I did have, there was because occasionally I do have like the again, you get the little gremlin in your brain that tells you, that gives you an idea for an army, and you go, that's really stupid, but I really want to do it. And one that I thought of that I wanted to do, and I think it was like at the end of 8th I thought it up, and I'm fuzzy on the details because it's a long time ago, but I think it was the 9th edition changes meant that I couldn't do it. But it was like to run several. What's the Baneblade variant that takes a load of troops?
Shadowblade? Is it the Shadowblade? No.
I was thinking,
is it Hellhammer?
I
forget. But anyway, the one that actually that can carry like a shit ton of guard. I was like, well, what else can go in one of those? And those little Cyclops bomb things can fit in there. And I think I worked out that, like, in a 2,000-point army, you could take like 3 of the big super heavies and fit like it was like an absolute ton of Cyclopses inside them. So it would mean that, like, one turn in, you just unleash all of them, and then it's just on your enemy to deal with that.
That would be fun.
Because they are. Because trying to take them all out would actually be a legitimate challenge in the one turn before they start exploding at you. And even once you've got rid of them, there's like 3 super heavies there. So it's, you know.
As an opponent as well, that would be fun. That would be really interesting.
Yeah. I forget the details because it's a long time ago that I was thinking this up, but I think something changed and it meant it didn't really work very well anymore. But I was like, that would be a really fun army. But Cyclopses are so expensive. Those would have to be like custom made because it will be cheaper to, I don't know, convert epic land raiders into that than it would be to buy the actual ones.
I'm sure I've got somewhere a papercraft storm sword template, which I'll have to dig out and see if I can find it. Yeah. Just because that would be so much cheaper to do it that way.
Oh yeah,
God, wouldn't it just?
I do have my. It was going to be part of my, because one of my other long time things was to have, because I've got a shadow sword, but as a Grot Rebellion shadow sword.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I wanted to make that into a full tank company that I could run with Imperial Guard rules.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that's become easier now because when I built it, it was like I either needed to run 1 or 3 super heavies, and that's a lot of money. Yes. And so now it's a little easier. So it's easier than it was. One of the few armies that I want to collect that is easier now. But yeah, it was originally going to be part of like a variant way of running that because I just thought that would be the funniest way to run things.
I think the last one I had, which was an idea that I had to stop myself from doing, you know, the Votan jet bikes?
Yeah.
Wouldn't they look great with sentinel legs?
I don't know, but I want to see it.
Yeah, because then they start looking like the G2 Blacktron Lego walkers.
Okay, yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about. Yep.
And then you paint all your Votan in like G2 Blacktron Lego colors.
Yeah, I can see it now. Yeah, I can see where you're going.
Although I'll be honest, they do strike me more as they would fit the Ice Planet theme.
I see. I was going to do that, but I love the Blacktron, both G1 and G2, to the very depths of my soul.
Understandable.
I will knife people who say that anything is better other than maybe M-Tron. We'll have a discussion about that.
I have no skin in this game, but I just want to help you knife people.
The knives, they'll be made with your own kneecaps. Try and work that one out. Very unpleasant.
So so that means if I'm running, I'm stabbing myself in the stomach?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I just still have somewhere to hang groceries when I sit down.
I kind of want to do. I always forget the name of them. The not Arbites from Necromunda.
The police.
Yeah. I kind of want to paint. I kind of want to paint those as one of the space police, the ones that were green with like the red visors.
The Gen 3 space police.
Yeah, I think that's because I never had any, so I never remember what order those came out. Because wasn't the original ones the blue and black?
Yes,
and then the later ones were like the green because they often had the epaulets, the red epaulets on the minifigs. Like I think they could look quite good in that kind of scheme.
They would look amazing in that color scheme.
Basically, any Lego space variant, make it as Marines work really well in those because honestly, they're just little spacemen anyway. But
that's why you do the Necrons in the M-Tron colors because nice red, big fluorescent green bits. Works perfectly. Do the Votan in the G2 Blacktron with some characters in the G1 Blacktron, so they're black and gold. And then you do the Necromunda guys in Space Police. And then you do the Tyranids as Ice Planet, because that would just look really weird.
Yeah. I feel like you could probably do a Rock Raiders Mechanicus force.
Oh, very easily, yes.
Yeah.
That would work. So somewhere my mate Stu's just like, someone mentioned Rock Raiders?
You could probably get, I'm not sure who would work for Explorians, but...
Guardsmen, maybe. If you don't know where they go, just do Guardsman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good default.
There's something else I was going to say there as well. I've completely forgotten what it was.
Something about Spirius.
No, but whatever it was, it's gone. It has been lost to the mists of time.
To be fair, you were trying to finish the podcast 10 minutes
we
ago.
were like,
And we
I'll be
just
honest
said
with you.
no.
Not happening.
I'm happy to just keep running. I'm just aware that at some point, there comes a point where it becomes too late to go to bed. So then we end up with a 8-hour podcast, and then we'll get up to go to work in the morning. Oh, God.
Joke's on you. I'm a YouTuber. I don't have to wake up at any time.
yes, you do. Don't be silly.
I have an alarm set for 8 o'clock in the morning, yes.
You have a bedtime.
I have a bedtime.
I work nights, so I don't know why I said any of that. Other than I have a 4-year-old who's going to school in the morning. So
yeah, he's going to yell at you.
he's not going to be happy. So we'll start drawing it to a close, because otherwise we will start combining 40K and other forgotten toy lines of the 80s and 90s up to and including Exoforce, which was the greatest toy line and cartoon of that era. And no
Sky
one's watched
Dancer Raptor Squad. You're welcome.
Jason and the Wheeled Warriors Mechanized Company.
Do any of
Biker
them...
mice from Mars, but they're Mechanicus. I think I came up with that one before. I'm just so creative.
We did a podcast like 5 years ago called "Have You Heard the Word of the Mouse Cult of Mars?" or something like that.
Yeah, would they be called the Cheese Stealers?
That's good. That's good. Or we just need to put a bunch of Tyranids in blue jeans. And just make them wear them stupid. Like, how would a Tyranid? Well, how would a Gene Stealer wear jeans?
I thought you were going to go Street Sharks.
Yeah, Street Shark car Sharadins, that'll work.
Street car Sharad, that was a hard word to say.
Street Space Sharks. All right, Street Space Shark.
Yeah, no, Street car Sharadins is really hard to say.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Street Space Sharks makes my mouth feel uncomfortable, and I don't know why.
The Ultramarines of Moo Mesa? Fuck off.
Very good. Very good.
Hey, how about we get in Thundar the Barbarian, and you can have a faction of Thundar warriors?
Oh,
nice. I like it. I like it.
I'm trying to get Mighty Max in there somewhere, and I just can't do it.
That's what I was trying to get as well, and it wasn't working. So
no. Mighty Max Mallanders, no. Leave that alone. So we'll start drawing things to a close. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I could easily continue this for another couple of hours.
Yeah, likewise.
Honestly,
it's been a lot of fun. Thank you for having us on.
It's been so much fun hanging out with you guys and having a good chat.
It has been.
I can't believe how much we talked about Warhammer.
It was so much.
So Warhammer this podcast.
Yep.
The question is, how much more Warhammer could there have been? And the
how
answer
much
is
war could a Warhammer if Warhammer could Warhammer 40,000? Oh my god. Yeah.
You nearly had something there, but
no, I didn't.
No,
don't lie to me.
It's true, Horace. You were the Warhammer 40,000 all along.
The Warhammer 40,000 was the Warhammers we hammed along the way.
We hammed along the way. Like sands through the hourglass. These are the wars of our ham. No one is going to get that.
In Mother Russia, ham wars you. Moving on.
Jesus Christ.
It's not going to help us now. We're so far away from the eyes of God.
Do you think God lives in heaven because he too fears what he created?
One could say that the Vatican did not sanction what happened here.
No, the Vatican is actually pissed off with me and is sending like priest assassins to my home.
To be fair, have you seen the Vatican guards? They do look like they're from a Warhammer 40,000 regiment.
We can't stop talking about Warhammer 40,000. Oh my god!
Have you ever seen what the Pope's chair looks like? And if that's not what the Golden Throne's based on, I don't know what is.
My brain immediately went to Dance Off Pants Off, and I can't remember the character's actual name. Kamarazov? Fuck, I can't remember. got the big chair.
Fyodor. Karamazov. Yeah.
Karamazov. Dance off pants.
Dance off pants off.
Hats off.
I don't know why that name is associated with him, but there we go. Anyway.
Yes.
You think you are going to win this? No. You now have to face the wrath of Dance Off Pants Off.
Break it down. And then they just play some like sick ass organ music.
It's to the tune of MC Hammer's "You Can't Touch This,"
but like really slowed
seen,
down.
Like you never thought you'd see like his weird dreadnought leg chair pop and lock, but damn, he can do it.
The Mechanicus worked for like years to perfect that.
That was a generational project.
It was,
but they did it. They did it.
Unfortunately, halfway through, we had to go and tell the local orc band to stop because they were too loud and overplaying his dance music.
His DDR competition was getting completely ruined.
The Dance Off Pants Off competition, you know?
Whoever wins has no pants.
Whoever
That's
wins,
literally
we
it.
all lose.
Well, I mean, with the DDR competition, yeah.
We're all losers in deep in our hearts. Fuck's sakes.
Anyway.
Anywho, moving on.
Would you like to tell people where they can find you?
Do not try and find us. We refuse to be found.
My Vatican plan did not work.
You can find us. You can find us on the internet. If you search for Snipe and Wib, you will find us primarily on our YouTube channel, where we talk about old Warhammer, primarily in the Codex Compliant series. You can also find both of us on social media, primarily on Blue Sky. I am just Wib on that. Snipe is Snipe the Sorrow. We are also on Twitch at twitch.tv/Snipe and Wib, where we stream every week. And if you really, 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 really want to find the obscure stuff, we've also done a bunch of podcasts, and I've got because we've talked about Transformers, I have a side channel called Wib Does Stuff, where I review Transformers, and literally before making this, I was editing some new episodes for that because I haven't done any in like 4 months. So
excellent.
There you go.
And I have
Sorry,
a YouTube
I
channel.
I thought I'd be professional for like a minute there, and you know.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a YouTube channel just called Snipe, and it's really easy to find. Trust me. No one has ever thought about having a username Snipe. I'm actually kind of like a bit of a trailblazer. So.
You used to have the name Snipe's Quality Content.
Yeah, and then I realized that was annoying. And I just went, fuck it, Snipe.
The worst part is that I came up, I think I came up with that name, and I was like, if you want to use it, you can use it, because I kind of want to use it. And now I've been using the other one for too long, so now I don't want to change it. And now you've stopped using it.
That is fully your own fault.
I feel like I have been slighted here.
How was I supposed to know I would be held responsible for my own actions? Okay, let's think about it from my perspective for a moment.
I also promise we don't go on quite so many tangents on our actual content. Well, okay, on our scripted content, we don't go on quite
on our
so many
edited scripted content, because I have the most outtakes and bloopers and ad libs of everyone, and that's
no one
good.
ever see. Very few people see those, so it's probably
good.
Whilst I'm just signing myself up for a YouTube channel called Gruffy's Quality Content, George, where can people find you?
You can find me over at strangeplaygrounds.com, where you'll find links to all of my published fiction, all of my short story collections, and whatnot. If you go over to Arrow Films and look for the new Hellraiser UHD or Blu-ray set, the Quartet of Torment, myself and my colleague Kit Power, we are actually on the Hellbound disc. We are on the featurette Hell is What They Wanted, which is an hour and 48-minute chat about Hellraiser and Clive Barker and horror and all sorts of stuff.
Nice.
Very, very proud of that. If you go up to gingernutsofhorror.com, you will find my ongoing article series, My Life in Horror, which is just a deep dive into horror media. It's influenced me and whatnot. It's lots and lots of fun. And if you go over to the YouTube channel Exaggerated Elegy, you'll find lots of chats about media and fiction and horror and anything I want to talk about, really. And that's me.
Deep breath.
Yep.
As for myself, You can find the Fluffenhammer at thefluffenhammer.com. You can find us on Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, and YouTube. And you can find all the different stuff we do there right now. The current releases are a in-universe dive into the Blood Pact from the Gaunt's Goats. Gaunt's Goats? No.
Let's go.
I don't know. I thought that series was pretty bad.
Oh. And the Gaunt's Ghosts series, which will then be followed up by, all fingers crossed, a complete reading of everything from the old Inferno magazines, because I am a sucker for punishment.
You are.
Jesus Christ! Why? Now that the Dawnbringer Chronicles is finished, it's like, oh, there's a hole in my life now where I'm not scrambling to get episodes out. What can I replace it with? I know. I'll read everything from Inferno.
I mean, you can't ever just have a reasonable output schedule. You know, you got to always make it so you're panicking at least a little.
Yes,
absolutely.
You'd think.
I mean, Dawnbringer Chronicles took a year from start to finish, and it was insane. And that was me panicking constantly to try and get stuff out. Outside of the Fluffenhammer, if you go to adnickelweebly.com, you can find all of my art and all of the other bits and bobs I've done, including These Mean Streets, an audio book dive into the history of the 2D fighting game genre. We can... this is what I mean about trying to speak and keep my words flowing. It just doesn't work anymore. Brain dead.
Oh, I guess so.
And including Philip K. Dick's We Can Remember It For You Wholesale. That's also on there. Pig Iron is now out. It has been out for a little while. So if you want to read a book that is half art book, half delving into a slightly deranged brain, half choose your own adventure, half game of find the pig, and just generally strange experience, the reviews I've got have just all been, I like it, but I don't know what it is. So I'm happy with that.
Honestly, that's like the best review you can get.
Yeah, I think it's really good.
I like it, but I'm scared. Like,
yeah, that
was actually in Wib's wedding vows when we got married.
It was a beautiful ceremony.
It was, yeah. The snipers really added some flair.
Everyone just opened their mouths and screamed Tom Cruise style.
Yeah, he's just once.
May we stand for the bride and groom?
I really feel sorry for anybody that's been like fading in and out through this whole thing.
Yeah, they are not going to get it. They're
like Jeff Goldblum and Bigfoot. And what? Warhammer was in there, I think.
Yeah, I'm not even sure we were recording when we were talking about Derek Akora, but we may have been.
I remember because I said something that was similar to I don't like him, he was a mini bum. And I was like, oh, I'm glad that wasn't recorded.
You're right, yes. But that was.
Derek Akora. Thank God he's dead.
Yeah. That's a whole other podcast, isn't it, that one?
I've had to take all those down now, unfortunately, due to bits and bobs. Yeah,
it was so good.
Yeah, it's
that's something I would. Cat, though, she's telling me off.
That's something I would explain when we're not recording. The reasons why.
Okay.
Because there's a reason that the third host isn't around anymore. So.
Okay.
Anyhow, yes. So Pig Iron's out. If you want to buy that, you can buy that from the evil Amazon empire. And next end of September, the Understars Desolate, which is my skirmish game stroke mini RPG game, will be hopefully out as well. So keep your eyes open for that. I'll be launching that and doing things with it over the next few weeks. All fingers crossed. And I think that's everything.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much, guys. That was absolutely brilliant. It was great having you on.
No, thank you for having us. It's been so much fun hanging out with you guys, honestly.
It's been a pleasure. And if you'd like to come on and talk about anything, please, Phil.
Do not tempt me.
Please do. You're more than welcome.
Well, I think it's only fair to let people have a little bit of time to recover.
Yes, of course.
So
So once everyone's medication has finally, the onset of action has finally kicked in, and they're feeling better, then we'll come back.
Yeah,
sounds good. And we shall call that episode "The Walking Dead." And
excellent.
No,
no.
no, I can't even do it well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like how
Okay,
you're like,
no,
oh, that's
no,
the only
no, no.
Walken thing I can do, and you definitely can't.
It's like every time I do a Katya Zamolodchikova impersonation, you think I'm doing Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's terrible. I'm like, no.
Not the bee.
That was Nicolas Cage. Did you like it?
Have you got?
Was that a catcher you were doing there?
No. Fuck off. I'm telling myself to fuck off. Okay.
Oh
Okay.
my God.
Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah, bye, guys.
Take care.
See you soon.
Bye.
Oh, bye,
Bye.
guys.
Every man lives, not every man truly dies.
This has been a Fluffenhammer production. Come join us at thefluffenhammer.com. Find us on Facebook. Find us on all the social media sites that you may desire. Also, we're in your bushes.